Hashtag there's always one. Hashtag
Wow, that's a funny thing to comment on.
Yes,
I unmute,
indeed.
the first thing I hear is "fuck it."
You know me. Man.
Probably fine. Probably fine.
Fuck all the things, my friends.
Oh, so as per normal, alerts muted for the Creators Roundtable. I just had one go off, and it reminded me that I hadn't. So I've just
I almost forgot mine. So yeah.
Handy reminder for us all.
Thanks, Foster.
Quite so. Right, so everyone's up. Obsidian, you're around.
Oh, I'm up, baby.
I'm up.
Giggity goo.
Oh my. All the roads are up. Oh, except for Obsidian,
Yeah,
who seems to be still muted.
I'm here.
So, there we go.
Hello.
All right, so we can, I guess, start properly, huh?
Yes.
So, who wants to do the intro?
Paroxsym.
Yes.
Roundtable. Yes.
There you go.
How's it going, everybody? So, welcome to another Creators Roundtable. I am Paroxsym, and with me is the usual TheYamiks, Obsidian, and Exigeous, Down to Earth Astronomy, and DJ Truthsayer. So let's just kind of start down the line and have you guys introduce yourselves for those who may not know who you are by now. So, DJ, who are you?
Idiot in a spaceship, leader of the Sovereignty streamer on Twitch.
There you go. And Down to Earth Astronomy.
How to YouTuber.
And Exigeous?
It's the same.
And the venerable Obsidian Ant.
Hello. Yep, Obsidian Ant. Just a
There you go. That's
Just
nobody knows.
To be honest, you could have just finished at "Hello, I'm Obsidian."
Hello.
Ant, to be honest.
Yes.
Welcome to 3304.
Yeah, you got to start giving us a. And I'll catch you guys and gals next time at the end of the streams.
Yeah, we need some of those.
I get that request all the time.
And the last one here is TheYamiks.
Paroxsym, you probably know me better than anyone else here, so
Probably.
how would you describe yours truly?
The dead horse beater.
no, a cuddly bear. I'm always saying it, TheYamiks.
He's totally the cuddly bear.
I usually say I'm a cunt, but okay, well, let's go with that. I guess that'll be an upgrade.
Guy.
Oh, I'm so fucking friendly. Oh, yes!
Can I very briefly share my favourite memory of TheYamiks?
Sure.
For it.
No.
His daily morning meals, where he and my wife would sit and have a chat, eating Lucky Charms in Boston. That is the image of TheYamiks I will never, ever get out of my head.
TheYamiks and Lucky Charms.
Yep.
I don't know what... Okay.
I don't remember
That's
that.
my
So
favourite
TheYamiks.
memory of
No, I remember it, but I don't really think that was
I'm just...
that unique.
The mental image that I have at the moment is like a 6-year-old TheYamiks and Lucky Charms in the morning on Saturday watching cartoons.
Right.
Ah, don't take me lucky charms, eh?
Yeah, no, that's my favourite memory of TheYamiks.
I'm having a hard
Always
time
will
with that
be, I
one,
think.
actually.
Okie dokie. Well, there you go, folks.
So, today's subjects, gentlemen.
Yes. Should we start with the cross-platform thing, I guess? And since Exigeous don't know what's this all about, I guess we should let's fill Exigeous in, and then the rest of the guys in stream will probably figure it out as well along the way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so the thing is that there's this small game like nobody really plays. It's called Fortnite. You might have heard of it.
I think I've heard of that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortnite.
Anyway, Sony has apparently agreed to allow Fortnite to be cross-platform.
Oh, I hadn't heard that yet. Wow.
So,
Yeah.
see,
that is
that's
good news.
interesting. Now,
Yeah.
I guess from my point of view, one of the differences was that Fortnite was already cross-platform with Xbox and PC.
Yeah, and also let's be clear, a Switch as well.
Yeah, true. But
Right,
okay, I don't know if it, okay, fair enough. But they were still
Yeah. Sorry.
Which might be one of the reasons why, because then the PS players was really left out compared to everybody else. But it's interesting because I think it's the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, that we've seen Sony accept something being cross-platform.
I can easily comment this thing, but okay, carry on, guys.
It's certainly a long time, but go ahead.
Huh? Okay, well, to give some sort of a background, now, those of you that perhaps watch Jim Sterling probably would have noticed a little interesting things about Sony, and that is that Sony tends to be very cagey when it comes down to cross-platform, which is, you know, partly why, for example, if I remember correctly, it was also Rocket League that was, you know, technically cross-platform between PC and Xbox, but not with Sony. And this has been a long-term ongoing thing with Sony in general. So, what happened basically with Fortnite, and probably the rest of the titles right now as well, is that Sony didn't just come out and say, oh yeah, we're gonna be good guys and allow that. No, they caved in. They caved to the pressure of the fucking public in general for not allowing, or rather even tainting, accounts, especially in Fortnite, and just not allowing crossplay in general. So what happened with Fortnite essentially was that if you had a Fortnite account, you would play the game on PC, Xbox, whatnot else. You could use it.
Can I just quickly jump in to clarify something that's come up in my chat, and just to make sure everyone realizes this? We are talking crossplay between Xbox, PC, and PlayStation all at the same time, which hasn't happened before. A lot of people are going, oh, but this game has crossplay between PC and PlayStation, and this game has... Yes, that has happened before. It's the fact that it's Xbox and PlayStation.
All the consoles.
And is Nintendo included in this? Just to...
I think...
Nintendo has already had cross...
So.
Yeah, they've already had cross-platform in Fortnite, so I would say...
Yeah, they already had it.
Well, you know what's really funny about this whole Fortnite thing, though, is that there was a bug a few months ago that temporarily enabled crossplay between PS4 and PC.
One of those bugs.
A funny thing about that is actually the same thing happened. The same thing sort of happened with Rocket League as well, by the way. And as Rocket League developers have themselves come out and said that all they need is just a go ahead to press a button, literally, or change one number to make crossplay possible between all the platforms rather than having Sony separately. And the funny thing about Fortnite was, I'll let you finish there, but yo dog, right? But first things first. If you actually used to be that if you took your Fortnite account from PC or Xbox or both, whatever, into Sony's platform, that account would be stained and wouldn't be playable on other two platforms ever again. So it would be locked as soon as you would enter in Sony's platform, and you could only play on it anymore with the account that you had for all of them previously. Now this probably will be changing because of this thing, yeah, Sony is a fucking cunt when it comes down to cross-platform.
So many developers have pointed out, haven't they? It's not a technical issue at all. It's not just the ones that you've mentioned. It's not just these big games. It's many developers have said it's not a technical issue. This cross-play thing. It's something that they could all enable.
Yeah, this isn't a technical hurdle. It's plain and simple that Sony don't want to share their ecosystem. That's exactly.
Which is kind of a shame, really, because crossplay would just enrich experiences across the board, I think. So
the thing with,
why not?
With Fortnite is obviously they've got the numbers to try and push it through. Yeah, all these other games have kind of complained about it or put as much pressure as they can on about it, but they obviously haven't got the weight of Fortnite players.
Yeah, whereas Fortnite is a literal cultural phenomenon, whether you like it or not.
Yes, it is.
Don't like it. That game needs to die.
But it's still a cultural phenomenon.
No, I personally like it quite a bit. Anyways, there was actually one interesting news piece as well about Xbox being a little bit cagey, and that stems back to I'll finish this story real quick. So it was about Minecraft. Now Xbox or Microsoft didn't really want to make it crossplay between PC and PlayStation, saying that you know, Xbox curates community and whatnot else, and they don't want nasties to, you know, come and ruin it and whatnot else, and they can't curate the PlayStation and whatnot else. And yeah, that's again fine and dandy if you have that sort of argument, but even so, it's just, I want my own ecosystem, just like fucking Twitch. But anyways, no, we live in, you know, bigger world than just your own, and trying to keep your own little secret garden, well, it works to a point. Fortunately, once the numbers are big enough, well, guess what you need to start doing and thinking. That is allowing that cross-play if the games are compatible. You know, I mean, sure, if Fortnite players really want to get wrecked by a PC master race, then, well, hey, fuck it. We need meat shields. Anyways, carry on.
But I've always...
So,
yeah,
well,
go ahead.
The question that this immediately... Obviously, the reason we're bringing this up. This is a roundtable about Elite, not about Fortnite. We're bringing this up because, obviously, once this is successful, which it will be, there's going to be further pressure on Sony to grow up and to allow this for essentially every game. And if for Elite, what do we think it would mean? Like, do you think that it would end up where console players are, you know, that they suffer a disadvantage to PC players, or do you think that it would actually just be a bonus for everyone, essentially?
Are we talking about it in Elite?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it would be a bonus, because if you think about the number of PC players that play using Xbox controller already, I don't think flying with an Xbox controller is an inherent disadvantage.
It's going to be a problem, no.
Right?
No.
Like, yeah, if you think about like you think like an Xbox controller versus a keyboard and mouse in a first-person shooter, arguably the keyboard and mouse player is going to have the advantage. And you could also argue the keyboard
not
and mouse
arguably, my friend, not arguably.
I mean, no, I mean, right, and I agree, but I'm not trying to start a debate there, right? But you can also say that that in Elite, that keyboard and mouse players have a advantage. I'm going to call that ever so slight, but it's not, the variability in something like Elite is very minor. So I think it would be nothing but fantastic.
Yeah, there's also the thing that Microsoft are enabling mouse and keyboard support on the Xbox now, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. I think they did something like it.
Yeah. I think starting with Warframe, they're starting it with.
Yeah. And there's always been ways to do keyboard and mouse on console with those adapters and shit like that, right? It's not, I don't think they're great, but you can do it. But anyway,
I didn't read the article, but I got the impression that it's going to be a requirement at some point for developers to allow that on Xbox, or enable
keyboard and mouse, you're saying?
Someone else correct me if I'm wrong.
Interesting. Okay, I had not seen that, but I can't say you're wrong.
I'm gonna say I haven't read, but my gut says yes, you're right, because that's an incredibly practical business decision by Microsoft, considering they're porting every exclusive game on their console to PC, and there's parity between the PC Microsoft releases and the Xbox ones.
Yeah, so it's obviously probably
would make
for Microsoft to do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It makes total sense to insist that you have to build in mouse and keyboard support from the start, because this is also going to be sold through the Windows Store. So that makes all the sense in the world, right?
But I've always been...
with Elite, you've got the HOTAS support as well on the consoles, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been wildly successful.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I know that there's that
successful.
The new version of, what is it, Ace Fighter Combat? I think Crestmaster's releasing a new stick, a new HOTAS for that, but it's just a rebrand of the T-Flight, unfortunately. Yeah. It's not an actual new stick.
But yeah, the T-Flight stick that sells on the console is the best-selling stick Thrustmaster have ever done by a country mile.
Yeah, I put up a quick poll about that when I did a review video, and it was the most popular answer. Obviously, it's the only choice for console, and it would be nice if there were some better console choices. At the same time, and I don't mean to be PC master race, which I am, but at the same time, I'm guessing the manufacturers have got to think that if you're willing to shell out $200 for a HOTAS, you're probably not playing on console. I mean, I know there's reasons to use console other than like affordability, but at the same time,
Playing movies.
Let's face it. If they sold the Warthog, if Thrustmaster sold the Warthog and the pedals that they've just done on console, there would be people that would buy them. I'm not saying
probably, yeah.
But their decision is it enough people to make the work that needs doing?
Exactly.
Yeah. Whereas
the answer to that is probably no.
Whereas
Things like the HOTAS and the rudder pedals and all that kind of crap is, you know, almost exclusive to simmers, and you're not going to find those on consoles.
Yeah. Whereas the T-Flight, they sell for about the same price as a standard Xbox or PlayStation.
Exactly. It's like $40 or $50 US for the. What's crazy is
the price point that we're
one,
used to and comfortable with, right?
The PS4 version's $50 in the US, and the Xbox One version is $80. And I just wonder if that, I've always wondered if that's a Microsoft licensing thing, or if that's like why they're fleecing Xbox players.
I assume that's a Microsoft licensing thing.
I assume too, right?
Yeah, that would.
Yay, consoles! Console market is so great. Oh, I love it.
But I guess the main question now is, I mean, I'm pretty sure if Frontier had the option when they implemented this, the console to join the game as well, they would have made it cross-platform if it wasn't because of Sony. I just think they didn't want to leave the PS4 players out in the being on their own. Yeah, so that's why they didn't cross-platform with the Xbox.
Well, I wonder, but I mean, PS4
and in fact,
so late.
And in fact,
why?
I believe at the time of the Xbox release, crossplay wasn't a thing with the Xbox. Correct me if I'm right.
No,
it might have been,
Was it?
But still,
was it?
No.
What with?
But the question, I think it's interesting if now that there's like a glimmer of hope that Sony maybe is going to open up to other games as well to allow cross-platform, if we're ever going to see it in Elite, and even if, let's say, that Sony opens up to everybody and say, sure, now everybody just do all the cross-platform you will, would Frontier then implement it?
Yes.
Well, I think the question would be to answer that is, how difficult is it really to implement it on their side? If it's flip a switch on, yes, I think it would.
They've stated officially that the problem, they are one of the developers that has been open in the fact that the problem is not at their end.
Okay.
Yes.
Frontier has been, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the problem is not at their end. Yeah.
We've seen other
limitations put in place by the platforms.
Yeah. Yay, consoles once more, people! Yay, consoles!
But, okay, one of the points is that we've seen before with stuff implemented into Elite, take the hot colors, for instance, where it was implemented in such a way that apparently it is not feasible for Frontier to make it changeable within the game, like with a cosmetic item.
Yeah.
So the question is, when they implemented the console versions, did they just say, oh, well, it's not going to be cross-platform, so we're not going to make it easy for us to do it if we want to do it in the future? Because they could end up in a situation like with the hot colors.
I would argue that the answer to that is that we are already cross-platform. I think Frontier have pushed that further than any other game companies managed, because we do share the same universe. Yeah, I push on the BGS and on the PC, and the PlayStation and the Xbox get the same result.
Come on. That's not cross-platform.
No, it isn't cross-platform, but it does show that information is being exchanged across platforms already.
No, it shows that there's a central database that all platforms read from. That doesn't mean it's cross-platform.
No, but is there any other games that do that?
Not to my knowledge.
There's a bunch of MMOs on consoles. I don't think they share any background data.
That's a good question. That I don't know. I'm guessing our chats can tell us.
There's things like Final Fantasy XIV where it is truly, a single world server. Yeah. But something like Star Trek Online doesn't, certainly. It's the fact that the BGS is shared shows that there is a certain element of information exchange going on already. Even if, as you say, it's just that it's pulling from a central server.
Yeah.
I suspect that answers all the questions. I think that the fact that Frontier have stated in the past that the problem is with the rules of the console makers, not at their end.
And that's the best part to hear of that, right?
Yeah. It's a feature that, I've heard that, and it's just a feature that if it becomes available, I can't see them not doing it. I think that it's something that they would kill to do.
Yeah.
And I think that the point about they could have brought this in with Xbox already, clearly. I think the point of leaving the PlayStation players in like their own little corner of the universe is, I get why they wouldn't want to do that. Yeah.
But
still,
I mean, I get what you're saying, but at the same thing, Fortnite does that right now, right?
Yeah.
And there's no like backlash.
That
right?
Rocket League did that, and no one really complained. Again,
right.
So I'd say just turning on crossplay as much as you can would be a good thing in general.
Absolutely.
Because again,
how is it a bad thing?
No, I can't see any negatives to it. No,
yeah,
can't see any downsides.
You're just increasing the positive sides of the other.
Yeah.
If you're envious about the other people, yeah, I guess sure, but still.
Take it up with Sony. Would have to be Frontier's line on it if they did, right?
But then,
Yeah.
why not make it crossplay with Xbox? Come on, Frontier, you want
that's
to.
what I mean. No, if they did that, then their line would have to be take it up with Sony to those that complained, right? Because it's kind of
Yeah.
it's in Sony's hands rather than theirs. But for me, I think that it would see real cross-pollination of the communities, because there is a weird divide between console and PC players.
Oh, there is definitely.
I'd love to see that just disappear. I really would.
Yeah, with
I mean,
Microsoft,
for fuck's sake, we're all gamers, right?
That's
We like
something that
games.
could probably happen.
Yeah.
It looks like it's in Microsoft's interest to kind of go that way, really. Not so much Sony's, but certainly in Microsoft's interest.
And I think Sony
get a
have just
PC
been
and
browbeaten into it. A genuine, it's just...
For Microsoft to basically get a PC into each living room.
Yeah.
That's an advantage to them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's... And as everybody said, I just can't see a negative, right?
So at this point, basically, petition, Frontier to make crossplay at least as much as possible,
Oh, sure, because Frontier listens to everything we petition.
You know what? Make Linux.
Sorry.
We need a Linux version too.
Yes, we need a Linux port. Come on.
If you think that the report on Linux, that the report on Fortnite's crossplay didn't raise some eyebrows at Frontier, I suspect they know and are watching this situation like hawks.
Talking about
the industry is. I mean, it's not like they are the only ones out.
Right, exactly.
No, overall, the
Cage
Gardens, or Walled-Off Gardens.
The only thing I can see perhaps being an issue might be instancing problems between the platforms, as there's already enough.
That's more to do with the net code rather than individual platforms, honestly. Because really the only data that is being sent from person to person oftentimes when it comes down to peer-to-peer stuff is, the locations, a specific place, or that being registered on the server, connection with the server as well. Little details, aside from, of course, the position that what type of ship, where it is, how it's turned, what damage, what details, and blah, 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 blah. Aside from all that, really, that's not that much, to be honest. That data, even especially today, with today's network speeds, it's not that much. When there are more people, of course, yes, then it's a bigger issue. But honestly, I find the peer-to-peer system for Elite to be extremely flawed, and even as it is, it's not very stable.
Oh, totally agree with that.
And once more, I kill the conversation. Yay!
I don't tend to have instancing issues in groups up to 4. Like,
up to 4? Yeah,
with
that's
a regular wing, I don't have instancing issues.
Have you tried to take on Thargoids in multi-crew?
No,
that's in a regular wing. Multi-crew is an entirely separate issue.
Multi-crew is a hot mess of netcode.
I have instancing problem with Wings of 4 almost every day.
I am surprised.
Constantly.
Wow. See, no, honestly, I don't get wing issues.
Do you play with people across the world or just in...
No, it does tend to be If actually saying that, if we introduce anyone from Australia or New Zealand, it immediately falls apart. I will say that.
Wow, that sucks, Dick. I understand why they have shit connections, but still, goddamn.
Yeah, that's the thing that can cause that to fall apart. But yeah, as a general wing, we don't tend to. But then we do use wing beacons, pretty much constantly.
That has
so
nothing to do
that
with it, so.
I assume helps. But yeah.
Not really.
So yeah, people in my chat are saying that they have issues at that size as well. So I just
honestly,
seem to be lucky.
I still seem I'm still fucking surprised that multi-crew as a fucking feature has not been dealt with at all, and yet they are still pushing out stuff for it. I mean, yeah, you're pushing out new stuff, and you need to attune the fact that multi-crew exists, and now you need to support it as well. Otherwise, it seems like you're abandoning it. But come on, Frontier, you had time. Fix the fucking thing!
So how long's multi-crew been around now? About a year, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's almost
it's been more than a year.
It's almost 2.
It's been that long?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yes.
I've said this multiple times. 18 months. 18 months ago.
Yeah, of course it is. This time last year it was patch 2.4, wasn't it? That was
exactly.
Wow.
Yep.
18 months ago, if I'd have told you guys when we got multi-crew that, hey, guess what? You know, in the next 18 months, we won't get a single meaningful update to this at all. Would you have believed me?
I always feel the same with Horizons. It was 2015, December 2015. If anyone then had said 3 years later and you're still not on atmospheric worlds, it'd still be the same planets.
That's right. That's right.
I don't think anyone.
And actually, arguably uglier planet. I mean, the update in 3.0 was nice,
they were for a while.
You look at, but you look at some of the features we had. You remember that planet that had that crater in it that had the spikes in it that was like 10 kilometers deep or something?
Yes.
Right? Like why? Yeah. Why don't we have that shit? Right?
That
was
so
awesome.
cool.
There's some really great green-looking ones as well. Do you remember seeing them?
Right. Yeah. Like we've all been out. I think to that canyon planet that's about
that's a really old one.
Unbelievably amazing, right? Like why is there like why is 0.0001% of the planets that cool, right? Like why does it not generate that every 20th planet?
Okay,
because mathematically and scientifically, those kind of planets are.
I don't care. It's a video game. Give me something cool to fun and play with.
Exigeous, it's fine. Now, of course, remember. Now, first of all, Elite Dangerous is created with the mindset of creating rather a future setting that is the more realistic take on the humanity.
Oh, I get that.
With that ideal, I really do appreciate the ship designs a lot. Honestly, I really do. The way they went about it, and yes, of course, that's also part of the planet thing. They can't really put in extravagant things out there because, well, the general ideal and philosophy of the game is to put it in a more realistic take.
Yeah.
Though I agree, having a little bit more unique, at the very least, some tourist sites. Some interesting places to visit, because this is a video game, and eventually we need something extravagant too.
I mean,
and I'm not talking about the fucking microtransactions, for fuck's sakes.
No, I can take your argument to the next conclusion and say, well, then why do we have faster than light travel? Why do we have plasma? Why do we have all these plasma? Why do we have all these different things? And the answer is because it's a video game, right? And
space magic,
interesting things to look at versus 2.5 years later, we still have basically brown planets to drive around on. They're completely featureless. That's the only point I'm making.
But it's not the first time we've seen this. I mean, we talked briefly about it before the stream. It's the same with power play. It's the same with SRVs. There are lots of things that has tremendous potential that they implement and then just go, ooh,
abandoned almost. Yeah. It does feel like it oftentimes. Unless it's completely broke, they won't fix it.
I think they're really great at like checking things off the list, right? Like, okay, we've got power play, check. We've got engineers, check. We've got planetary landings, check. And then that's off the list. We don't ever need to, even though we half-assed it, we don't ever need to come back and do anything.
I would have agreed with you beyond.
We're finally getting there with some exploration.
Right? Yeah, I would have agreed with you before Beyond. That's clearly been
before what we've gotten in Beyond already. Bullshit. Other than
they've revisited engineering. They've revisited crime and punishment. Yes, it's shit. that they did revisit it. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that's a good thing. Yeah, I'm just pointing out that they did do it. Yeah, I'm not supporting the current crime and punishment.
They tried.
Exactly.
Two features, one of which that was completely and totally broken.
No, but then you look at and they clearly announced that the main core of content and stuff that they were going to be doing was in patch 1 and 4 of this year. They delivered stuff in patch 1. Patch 4 they always said was the largest of the 4. They've now got that coming. Yeah. And we judged them on that. But what we've seen so far, what they've said that is in that patch, you know, we've seen the exploration rework, we've seen the mining rework, or you know, we've seen about them. They are clearly looking at systems, and let's be honest, mining and exploration are far deeper ingrained into the game than engineering is. They are clearly revisiting the system.
I also disagree with it.
I couldn't disagree.
Again, it comes back down to what you think or what you class the game as, doesn't it? If engineering is about combat, for a lot of people, the game's not about combat. It's about the background simulation. It's about going out and exploring. Some people might just want to mine. And
sure.
Yeah,
right.
if you're looking at, like DJ's trying to say, exploration is deeply ingrained into the game. In that sense, it's not a layer that's added on top of the game like mining, not mining like engineers. In the sense that for mining, you've literally got to go out to these physical locations, these rings that are actual proper locations. Whereas when you're finding the engineering materials, they're things that are kind of artificially placed. If that makes sense, they're there, but they're sort of layers that have been added on. They could just easily be removed, and
combat.
It'd make difference to the combat. It'd make difference to the engineering, but it won't make difference to the game world. Whereas with the mining, that's integrated directly into the world itself. It's integrated into the ring systems. It's a part of the physical world. I'm not sure if that's making sense.
I get exactly.
Tell me if I'm talking nonsense.
No. I think you're talking exact sense. Right, but I think to say engineering is not ingrained in the game is ridiculous. It could be more.
It's a core selling point of the Horizons. The thing with Horizons is that it's an expansion, right? Yeah. Basically, Frontier did the right thing about engineering as to make it basically a further upgrade path of the game, essentially just tacking on some more upgrades on it, which is a thing that often a lot of us want. I actually find engineering as an idea really good. The execution though, my god, it's bad!
Why? What?
I really like it.
Why? Oh,
I think it's
okay, let me explain engineering to you.
I really like it now.
Oh god, no. So, the way engineering is right now, okay, so the reworked portion of engineering is okay. Yeah, the whole every time you roll you upgrade it. Yeah, okay, it is acceptable and it's okay, fine. I like it to a point. The problem is that engineering is not only just doing the upgrades. Biggest portion of engineering is the material gathering, and material gathering is there just for engineering. Or at least it was until tech brokers or your personal narrative.
But disagree. Not true.
Okay.
Synthesis, I believe, was the first use of materials, not engineering.
Yeah,
Okay.
synthesis got added in with the introduction of Horizons
Alright,
2.0.
fair enough. Okay,
So
then I'm
material gathering existed pre-engineers for a different reason.
But was
And synthesis is
but
is
an
a
incredibly
huge thing for a lot
tiny
of people.
engineer.
But then
TheYamiks'
DJ
point is completely on track. Keep going.
But
Yamiks.
but DJ, can you honestly tell me that they didn't plan to release something called Engineers
Of course
right
they did.
after? So they did plan, again, they introduced, just like right now, they are introducing portions of a specific feature and then just tack on the next thing. They are first introducing materials and seeing how it works. Synthesis was relatively easy to put in place. Engineering was a whole new thing, and that came with its own little things. So materials were obviously quite designed in mind with engineering. It wasn't like they one day thought up, oh, we have materials, we can put on engineering with it. No, it's clearly ingrained in it, and it is a huge part of it. And material gathering I don't know if any of you guys would disagree, but I'd say it's horrible. And it's absolutely absurd.
Material gathering is the problem. Yep. Specifically,
that's 100%. That's why I don't engineer.
High grade USSs.
That's literally the reason I don't engineer. I just can't do the just can't do
grind
the gathering.
Right?
Yeah, it's nonsense.
It just drives me crazy. It's
Right,
not just partly it's the RNG, but it's not entirely that. It's just also being forced to do things you don't necessarily want to be doing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, you know what? Here's a great example. Last night in my alt account, I needed to unlock Lee Chung. All right, so I had traded in 13 markets. So that's when you have to trade in 50 markets to do the other 37 markets. And I just bought 37 tons of cargo and jumped to 37 markets, trading them. Right, took me 4 hours and 45 minutes of something I detest doing. Right.
Well, that's like Celine Jean having to mine 500 tons.
Yeah, but you can do that. You can do that in about 2 hours. 4.5 hours to do those markets was absurd.
Yes,
well,
I actually.
It's still the
calculated
point, though,
it takes.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right, Paroxsym. You're right. You're right. But forcing me into doing something that takes me like an hour or so, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, right? Because up until then, all the other engineers I've been tracking, it's about 2 hours if you know what you're doing, right? But that one was, if start to finish, it would have been 6 hours for all of it. Now I think
I calculated it was 6.5 hours.
Yeah, okay. I think most people like naturally, like in my main account when I got to Lee Chung, I'd already traded in 50 markets, so it's no big deal, right? So you can look at it from that way, but at the same time, forcing me into something if I absolutely don't want to do trade, and now it's going to take me that long is a little silly, right? DJ, do you have your hand up?
I do. I really
do.
Go for
it.
Just an interesting question to gauge our involvement with this, because I think that our different opinions have part to do with that. So, how many engineered ships do you all have?
Oh, jeez.
I have parts. I have parts, mostly.
I've got...
Do we count ships that we disassembled along the way? Because then...
How many engineered modules do you have?
Modules?
Hundreds.
Yeah,
close to 100. I don't
even easier. Hang on, everyone's in game. I can do this even easier. Go into your right-hand panel, go to statistics.
I'm in my alt account, so I know my stat, though.
Right, okay. So, how many grade 5 rolls have you done? That might actually be a better way of judging
under what
this,
engineering?
Right?
I'll go last.
Crafting. Yeah, it's under crafting and statistics. I've done 134 grade 5 upgrades.
There's no point in me even looking at that. I haven't even got grade 5 unlocked on most of them. I've got a lot of grade 3s and grade 4s.
But you've done Felicity to grade 5.
I've done 1,534 grade 5 upgrades.
Yeah, I'm on my...
For me...
Oh,
okay, go.
I don't know.
Because we had this conversation.
Can we pass this to the chats as the relevant
chats?
Yeah. Can we pass this out? Yeah. Can everyone that's in game at the moment have a look at that panel for us and tell us how many grade 5 rolls you've done?
I'm going to very quickly, and maybe the other guys on YouTube can do the same thing. I'm going to put up a quick poll while we're talking. If the people watching leave an answer.
I'll send everybody to your poll.
I'll send it to my chat.
I'm just going to create that together now. Take a couple of...
Great. Put it in chat, Obsidian, and we'll send it. I think that's a great one to share.
Definitely.
I'm going to go last because you guys are going to laugh at my number.
I'm going to mute the thing for a second so you don't hear much.
Exigeous, then you did engineer in the old system too, quite a lot.
No, I know, but I've got a mix of new and old.
I got someone in my chat that says he's done 5,889 G5 rolls.
Really, that's nice. He's getting close to me.
Okay, my alt account doesn't really have over 100 grade 5s. Actually, you know, fuck it. I'm just gonna switch accounts real quick. I'll see. I'll be going last then.
So right now on my spreadsheet, I have 585 grade 5 modules with 325 of them full max with experimentals. And last time I looked, I was over 9,000 grade 5 rolls.
Jesus Christ.
And that's PvP first. Someone from the PvP side of things.
And that's a big part of it, right? And I'll admit to being a min-maxer as well, right? But yes, it's a lot of it's PvP.
A lot of people are min-maxing. Well, they might not always go for it, but or rather, not always arrive in it.
My question to you is, Aegis, is that going to be pre-engineer rework, or?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So a lot of it was pre, but if I look at my spreadsheet, I've got 285. I call them grade 6 in my spreadsheet, meaning they're fully maxed in the new engineering grade 5. I've got 285 that are full grade 5, right? And then the other 400 or so are all grade 5, but pre-grade 5, right? Like stuff like, you know, where I have like a, you know, just a jump a conda where I did a grade 5, a single grade 5 roll on a, on like a lightweight life support, right? Something like that I don't need to be min-maxed, you know, but I want it to be kind of nice, that kind of thing.
All right. Okay, so for me, grade 5s, 680. And I, yeah, the thing is, I tend not to do that much engineering, surprisingly. But yeah, 600, well, almost 700.
And so, shockingly, on stream right now, I'm doing material gathering.
I'm doing
We've only got limited options on the poll thing, so I've put the first option 1 to 100, second option 101 to 500, 501 to 1,000, and 1,001 to 2,000. And 2,000 plus. I haven't confirmed that yet, so
yeah, sure.
That works.
Can you add one more option?
We can have 5 options, and that's it.
I
did want to.
Come on, straw poll. Use straw poll. Straw poll can have up to 30.
Oh, but that's enough. You don't need to go nuts.
It doesn't need to be too precise.
That's enough. It would have been nice to add in a 250 point, perhaps, but it's not necessary.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Not necessary.
It gives us an idea, right?
Yeah.
All right. Just posting that now then. So for everyone in chat, there's a poll on my community section on my YouTube channel.
Click on the time thingamajig and send us the link.
Yeah, exactly. Is it on your community tab, Obsidian?
It's under the community tab. I'll link it in there.
Yeah, cool.
So if you want to go and answer the question, everyone, about how many G5 rolls you've done.
So to further on from this, the reason I asked that is to judge whether the amount that people dislike the engineering process is in relation to how much they do it, which I suspect it is. If you only do a little bit of it, it's actually quite fun. If you do shit tons of it, it's really, really annoying. The other thing that I sort of want to go to with this is material gathering the problem? Or is it the fact that material gathering is completely and totally RNG based in for most things? Yeah,
well, that's the problem. With
that is part of the problem. That is part of the problem.
If there were, you know, if you knew, as an example, that if you went to an anarchy system that's in Outbreak, you knew that if you killed the ships in that system that are running like refugee missions or running medical supplies in or whatever, yeah, you knew that they would drop a specific thing, yeah? But you still have to go and do the action, yeah? Is that precisely how it is? Because that's less...
So for most manufactured materials, if you need a specific grade 5, when you go to the system that has the correct state or has the correct government, and you know your high grades is going to give it. Now, high grades is a pain to get.
That's the problem, exactly. You have to find...
High grade's not the only one, though.
But it's one of the problems.
So no, that's what I'm talking about.
It's one of the bigger ones,
If you knew that it was going to drop a specific material, I'm not talking it can drop from a range.
No, it always drops from a range, but there's a higher probability. Like, so for example, if you're looking for core dynamics composites, those drop in election state, right? Or none state, right? If you go to a boom state, you can still them, but you'll more than likely get protolites or protoradiolites, right? Yeah. And if it's Federation, right? So there's a whole grid of it, right? That you figure out where things.
So if that grid was more obvious,
if that grid was more obvious. And the drop rate, the spawn rate for high grades is also the problem, right? Because if you go to like Soul, generally I've been to Soul and I'll get spawn rates of high grades about every 5 minutes. But I've been to Soul in times, and again, it didn't boom or none state. I've been to Soul in times where literally they don't spawn for 45 minutes.
And this is the actual USS, the high grade.
Exactly, the high grade USS, right? So you're sitting there, and it's also the high grade, you know, the whole problem with high grades is you see a USS, you lock it, you spend time pointing at it, nope, not a high grade. And then you're sitting there, you go back to watching your movie. There's another one you line up for it, not a high grade. You go back to your movie. And you do that for fucking 45 minutes and you want to shoot yourself.
So that's something that's going to be different that's something that then is going to be very different with the new
Yes, it is.
USS system.
Well, what I worry
Yeah,
with the
very
new, what I
different.
worry with the new one, with the fact that they'll be persistent, is now the way we're going to farm things is you find a system. Let's use Sol for example again, and say it's spawning core
They're
dynamics,
not,
right?
No, they're not persistent. They do have timers on them that run out.
Well, I know, but they're
They
going to
do.
be in. But yeah, but okay, but I mean by persistent, you jump in the system, there's going to be a high grade there, right? So
Oh,
you
right,
jump
yeah.
in the system, you fly to the high grade, so that takes you, let's say if it's 500 light seconds away, that takes you a couple minutes to get there, dropped in, right?
Yeah.
You farm it, you high wake out, you high wake back in, you fly to it, you drop in, you farm it, you high wake out. Yeah, I mean that's going to be our new game loop, which is still shit, right? There needs to be a non-USS way to get these things.
So
Right?
yeah,
Yamiks, what you got? Oh, sorry. I just saw Yamiks had his hand up.
I apologize. I'll shut up.
that's
Right,
fine.
so, DJ told me, with this whole thing, yeah, right. You were right. Yeah, in a way, if you were to predict these things a little bit more, that'd be help. Sure.
Yeah.
In the system
No, I was
that it
asking.
is currently. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
In that system that exists already, that would help. But that system in of itself, at the best case, is garbage.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
bottom line. The problem is, for combat, you know, the core dynamics material thingamajig that you need to get. How do you get it? By sitting in Super Cruise for hours on hours, masturbating or doing what the fuck else you want. And how does that fucking gameplay associate with the fucking combat, goddammit?
So the thing,
100% right.
Rage.
so surely the solution to, for me anyway, the solution to this, and this has been my thing for a while now, and I'm gonna keep banging on this drum and beating this dead horse, is
Yay!
they need to improve the exchange rates at the material trader.
That's one of them. Absolutely.
That's not a fix, for
Absolutely.
fuck's
No,
sake!
it's not a
No,
fix.
it's
It's
a
not a
patch,
fix.
but it would help, wouldn't it?
But it would help
Yeah.
mass. If grade 5 to
would
grade
help a
5
lot.
was a 2-to-1 instead of 6-to-1,
What
which
if it
is
was
ridiculous.
1-to-1?
Oh, okay, fine. But you know, I'm
1-to-1?
okay with there being a little bit of a cost. I'm okay
Yeah,
with that.
okay.
Right.
I was gonna say 1-to-1 would be like my wet dream. but-
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
but
of
what
course,
if it
right.
was 1-to-1?
Oh, it'd be fantastic, right? And yeah, well, and look,
Yeah.
if you guys remember, I pitched this idea last week, right? Instead of missions giving us 5 biotechs or 5 exquisite focus crystals, it
Give us
gives us a
credits.
voucher to
Yeah.
go to the material trader and take 5 of whatever the fuck we want, right? Or
Yep.
15 grade 4s, or you know whatever the math would be for the lower grades, right?
That
But here's your
recommends,
trading certificate, right? Now you can do what you want to earn the material that you need, right? You don't
Yeah.
have to spend that time.
I think
floating
that's the
around
problem.
and
Is that
spending
exactly they don't want you doing that. They want you doing set gameplay loops.
Yeah, and I
They want to
get
force you
that
into
too.
that.
man.
Yeah, I
When
think
that
that's the
set game. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like it. That's why I don't do engineering.
No, I know
because of
Well,
that.
exactly right. But you know what? I kind of get the wanting us to engage in the whole game. That's why I,
Yes.
for the most part, don't complain about the engineering unlocks, with the exception of Lee Chung last night. Right, but for the most part, I think those are
I was
okay.
about to say
But what
that.
gets
That's
me
what they
about
do
the-
with the unlocks. They introduce you to the different games.
They do, and I'm
do,
fine
yeah.
with
And
that.
that
That is how
I'm
you do it.
okay with engineering having that as part of its loop.
me
that
too,
It
me too.
introduces you to different
Me
things
too.
and says.
Yep.
But what Ant is saying is completely correct. It then
100%.
forces you
100%.
into, or if you don't, you do what I do and you spam missions until you've got 100 grade 5 focus crystals and 100 biotech and whatever.
And you go
and
trade.
then you go and trade and lose most of them.
Yep, exactly.
What
right.
really
got-
gets me though is the RNG. Yeah, I mean, you get that in a lot of games with loot drops, RNG. But the way I always think about it is, if you go in a game like World of Warcraft or any other of those type of online games, and you go out, you decide to do a bit of mining. So you look for copper, or you want to pick up a certain herb. So you look for a certain flower, and I can't even remember the name of the herbs that are in there. Sunbloom or
Jesus.
something, is it? But you say you
Go,
go
go,
to
go,
a
go.
copper, you go to a copper node, yeah, and you start mining that, and then suddenly diamonds drop out of it. Then you hit it again, and gold drops out of it, and you hit it again, and tin drops out of it. That'd be nuts, wouldn't it? If
Yeah.
you just had to keep going until you finally got copper out of the copper node. And that's how it is in Elite.
Yep.
And it just doesn't make any sense to me that it is that way.
Yep, I will agree 100% on that one.
For me, what doesn't make sense more often also is the whole blueprints in general. I mean, I did investigate a little bit into this, and I did, you know, note what type of gameplay you need to do for each type of upgrade. And FSD is a rather interesting one, because you know, in the first grade you need to just turn in one of the gameplay tokens from scanning wakes. Okay. The second rank is by driving on planets. Okay, for FSD, that, yeah, okay, that can make sense, okay. The third rank asks you to go and get gameplay tokens, aka materials, from destroyed transport ships. And I'm just scratching my head and thinking...
What's that got to do with an FSD?
Yeah, I get it that you want to force the player to do different things, which is a good thing. That's what you do as a designer. You need to encourage players with your gameplay to do different types of gameplay, which is fine. But when that fucking thing repeats so many times, and especially the high grade missions and a few other ones, it's just, it smells both of lack of imagination, capability, or just simple planning. And I'm just thinking, are you really that blind? Haven't you really thought this through? But anyways, that's just maybe me.
No,
Hey, Frontier!
No, I feel the same. There's no logic to it. And yet, in other areas of the game, everything's bound by
Call
science and
yourself a
logic, isn't
fucking
there?
game designer if you do this sort of shit in the first place. Seriously.
So,
I mean, you know, like...
Exigeous. Go. Oh, yeah.
No, if you had a question...
Oh, no, I was trying to lead you in.
Oh, thank you. You know, like I get why USSs exist, and it's not that I want them to go away, right? Because I get the argument that they make things feel alive, and you see random stuff, right?
They are random encounters. That's all they are.
And I remember when I first started playing, like my first 10, 15 hours, right, doing black box delivery missions, right, or the black box recovery missions, right? And I remember thinking, it can't be that I just have to fly around and wait for this to pop up. Surely, and I was honking my discovery scanner over and over because I'm thinking to myself, there's got to be something I do. Like, how do I scan this planet? How do I scan for this, right? And I remember just being so confused at how this worked, right? And so the point that I was really trying to lead to is, I remember in Astro, correct me if I'm wrong, that you had a video, I think it was back when like 3.1 dropped, that at the unknown installations, you could get shit tons of grade 5 materials, right? It was great, actually, because you could do combat, they spawned exquisite focus crystals, pharmaceutical isolators, I mean, all kinds of shit that you basically cannot get anywhere but high-grade USSs, right? And that got quote-unquote fixed, right? So now that's gone again, and you're lucky if you farm a Type 9 there that every 3 or 4 times you kill it, you'll get a single or maybe 2 grade 5s of something, right? And why these things aren't just all over the place, and why, again, we keep beating this, but why you're forced to do unknown signal sources, like Yamik said, we have to sit here in Super Cruise, staring at our screen. Like, this is gameplay. I mean, I posted my video to my chat one night. It took me an hour and a half to find 2, right? Like, I watched a whole movie in the time I found like 12 core dynamic composites. It's
bad.
Ridiculous. Right, yeah, I mean, you know, we all joke that Elite's the game. I mean, I've never seen a game like it where you have to do something to entertain yourself while you play. Right, and with things like long-range passenger missions, like the Rhea stuff, I get that, right? It's just, I mean, if you're flying somewhere that's 1 million light seconds away, that's going to take an hour and a half. Well, all right, I can accept that, right? What I can't accept is the mechanic of USSs and other gameplay where I literally just have to sit there.
Exigeous.
So,
I'm gonna be quick. Hey, Exigeous, that's the high grade immersion for you. That was from my chat. Sorry. Carry on.
I can't even type immersion without hearing you say that, by the way.
So, the funny thing is, I do actually know another game that is similar in that respect.
Do tell.
And that's Euro Truck Simulator and its offspring.
Does it ask you to collect?
No, please. The amount of people that I know, myself included, who when they play that game, do it because it's something to do whilst listening to a podcast.
And that's fair, yeah.
And something to essentially engage their hands whilst they're listening to a podcast, yeah?
Yeah.
That, I think Elite has that the elite can be that. It doesn't have to be, but it can be.
Totally. And, you know, my point to your point, DJ, like when I said about like long-term passenger missions, long-haul trading maybe, or long exploration where you're jumping and stuff, I really do have no problem with that part of it, right? But when it's like, again, me as a combat pilot, and that's what I want out of the game, and I'm doing something so I can build myself a combat ship, and I'm forced into doing Euro Truck Simulator to do that, that's where it gets broken.
Yeah, I agree.
Right, yeah, and I think we all agree. Yeah, what you got?
So, I guess for me at least, the whole thing comes down to the fact that there's always only one method that's really effective for each material. I mean,
that's right.
We had it a little bit with the unauthorized installation, where suddenly there was actually a second place where you could go. I mean, if you didn't like farming high grades, well, you had another option. And of course, yes, as you said, that got quote unquote fixed. I feel like that Frontier's approach whenever these kind of things pop up is that suddenly there's some gameplay that allow people to get something in a way that maybe weren't intended, and then they say, oh, that's not how we want it, and we're gonna remove it. And instead of saying, oh well, people really seem to enjoy this, maybe we should give people, I don't know, 2-3 options that are about equal, and before people begin posting somewhere in chat saying, oh, but you can still get grade 5 from killing ships, and yes, you can, but it's not very effective compared to...
Not even remotely efficient, yeah.
Exactly. Compared to performing high grades, it's not effective. If you really enjoy combat, enjoy PvE, sure, you can sit in a conflict zone for a few days and get the materials you need, and you might have enjoyed that. But if you just want the materials, you just want them now, well, there's one thing to do, and that is find something interesting on Netflix and farm some high grades.
That's right.
And I would really
I just want to get the shit done, right? Like, I just want to build a ship and go to do what I want to do with it, right? Not like you said, not wait 2 weeks or 20 hours of gameplay to get it, you know, to finally get it out of combat, right?
You should encourage your players to attempt different gameplay in a positive way, not
That's exactly the
forcing them.
Yes, encourage the players, not force them. Exactly. Yep.
That's a great way to put it, actually.
Guess what happens with the fucking personal narrative, the tech brokers? Why people dislike it? Why? Do you need to ask why? It's because you're forcing them to do it.
Right. You know, Yamiks, I'll admit, and I wanted to make time this morning to watch it before the stream, but I haven't gotten to see your Ship Launch Fighter review yet. I've been dying to watch it.
It's the most positive fucking thing ever. No, seriously, I fucking love those fighters, and they are solid. The experience to get them, to play with them, always will be sullied by the fact that I had... Yeah, because I had to grind for them.
The only way I will ever fly them is if I'm in multi-crew and someone else.
But the thing is,
the only way I'll ever fly them.
But the thing is, I feel so fucking sad because I have to say that, because I know that artists actually put an effort in it. I respect that, I love that, and I encourage it. But I just can't but to just go and say, but this is because of the personal narrative. It's so depressing that I have to do that. I want to reward and say that, oh, I love this, but I can't. Anyways, carry on. Sorry, whoever I probably down to earth. Sorry, Astro, I interrupted.
No, I think I got my point through, but.
And yeah, the Guardian things are a perfect example. The absurdity of, like, how many of the Epsilon data do you need to get the 3 fighters?
Oh god,
26 per.
Yeah, 26 per ship.
That's, what,
26
that's
per.
Well over.
It's easily,
at the best case,
start to finish. It's lucky if you can do it in an hour and a half. Yeah, it's 78 for all.
It's not hour and a half. I
lucky.
Timed it. I fucking timed it, and I got about 52 of them. That is for 2 fighters in about 3 hours.
Okay, I got lucky, and I got 50 of them in about 90 minutes.
And
yeah, so that's the other thing, it's about RNG.
Right.
How different the time is for one person to another.
And
someone else will come on and say, "Well, I did that in half hour. What's the problem? What are you moaning about?"
Yeah. And then the same question, the next question to that is, and what was your methodology for that? Were you basically board flipping? Were you sitting there respawning the instance by jumping out and jumping in? Right. Oh, what engaging gameplay.
Exactly.
Right? It's so great. Yeah. I love it. I love it so much. I want to castrate myself with a rusty spark.
I just will not do them. Yeah?
I get why you wouldn't. I
will not do them. Yeah, I just won't. I desperately want those fighters. Like, the moment I saw them, I was like, Elite's got a TIE Defender. I want it.
Oh, they're especially in VR, they're fucking awesome to fly.
Right. And then I saw the requirements and was like, oh. Don't get me wrong, I knew that you'd have to do some stuff to get them. That's cool. Got no issue with that, right? But no. I refuse to grind this game, and this is the grinding, this makes the grinding required to do engineering, even when using the material trader, look pathetic. This is horrible.
And when we talked about, and I agree that we can move on, but like the material trader thing, I think it's one of those things that would be such an easy thing for them to change, right? That I don't see why they wouldn't, right?
Retention?
It would be, I'm cynical, before, but I get what you're saying, but to me, I guess I buy the if things like that were better and people could engage in more of engineering and engage in more gameplay because of it, right? The results of it, I think that would lead to the retention personally, right? Now, I'm not a market analyst, so I can't really say, but
there is again, that psychological aspect of the game that when you finally reach the goal that you have, you tend to forget the horrible and boring and other bad things that you've gone through to get that. It's again, I talked about this last week as well, so it's a psychology. If you read about even gambling would be a good example as well on this one, because we're talking about RNG and gambling is very close to it. So yeah, in games though, in normal rewarding games, you tend to get developers that go around, while they do use random generation to produce some sort of maybe unpredictable level of results. They also take in count that from X amount of randomly generated numbers, you would set in some rules to prevent extraordinarily long times between specific results. So you would have the minimum and you would have the maximum amount set as a range in which you would get the potential reward or something else. In Elite, with high-grade emissions especially, it seems to be that there's none of that. No. And no one really seemed to have given a fuck. It was just like
a lot of games that do something like that, isn't there? I think Diablo.
Oh no!
Did that, after so long, the chances of certain thing dropping increase.
There is that, yes, but again, it's putting in variables, if statements, and other things to prevent either a player spending too much time doing something and rewarding him for just finally rolling that unsuccessful roll and just giving him the reward because he already spent the time, so let's just be merciful. In Elite, it doesn't seem that to be the case. I don't know.
Can I just
go?
Can I?
Yeah.
What?
Before I change the subject,
I was about to say, I just want to end this on the funny thing is, if the fighters were a reward for doing a mission chain that took in 2 or 3 of the Guardian sites and you did all the stuff that you do throughout the Guardian thing, wouldn't our reaction be different?
Oh, I want quests, yes!
Right, wouldn't that
Unless
be
the quests are all the same.
Yeah, that sort of thing, if structured correctly, you can write it so that it makes sense that, everyone's doing it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Right?
Yep.
And for me, that would be the way to do this sort of thing. You wouldn't even mind if you had to do that chain once per fighter, right? You'd be like, okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, depending on the length of it, and
2 or 3 sites, that you pointed out and told, go here, do this.
also depends on how fun that
I prefer
chain is.
unique.
Yeah.
I prefer unique.
Yeah,
Oh, I agree with you too,
But you
Yamiks.
know, yeah, but let's be honest. Most MMOs, when you finish a mission quest,
Yeah,
are like,
that's
would you
true.
like this reward or this reward? Yeah, and that is to convince you to go back and get the other reward, right?
Or have a dilemma. There's
Or
also
have a
that.
dilemma.
In Warcraft, actually, World of Warcraft, you have that. And it's wonderful to have it.
Where it's like you can
Somehow.
only have one.
Yeah.
That can
I
be
mean,
a bit
okay,
harsh though over time because it can turn out that one's better and people that took the
Yeah,
wrong choice.
depending
You
on-
know that. Yeah. But
For this game, maybe not.
to lead into something far better, Ixie, you want to bring something up, don't you?
Well, no, yeah, I was just. I mean, I'm going to change the subject here if you're
Go
finished.
for it. Yeah.
Basically, and I'm gonna kick it to Astro first since it was really his idea, which was rather than we've been salty for an hour here, and and I'll also say, guys, for those that have watched a lot, that like to clarify, we are salty because we love, right? I mean, like we all, if we all didn't love this game to an unbelievable
This
level,
is not
you
the
guys-
shill podcast.
Right, you guys would not know who we are, right? Like if we didn't care, you wouldn't know who we are. You wouldn't be sitting here listening to us, right? So just to clarify that. So, but to take things in a more positive way, Astro had the suggestion, and I'm going to let him take it first. Of let's talk about the things that we love, either in I guess specifically with Chapter 3 that we've gotten so far, right? The things that we feel like have been a step in the right direction, right? I think that would be interesting to go around and everybody and see what everybody's take is.
Yeah, I
Kick
can.
us off, Astro.
Yeah, I
sure.
can kick it off. I think the best change that they made was the quality of life changes they implemented back in the 3.0 update, so at the beginning of the chapter, referring to the material storage for engineering materials, and what was the other thing? Oh yeah, the removing RNGs from engineering, making it a little bit more predictable. Those two changes, I think, has been one of the best changes they made in this chapter so far, because it was very needed quality of life updates, and I would love to see more quality of life stuff like that coming in the future. I mean, I can recall how I sitting there thinking, oh, okay, so if I throw like 10 of these out, I should have enough to get a decent roll, and then I can still get these, and I don't have to go to the engineer twice, and oh my god.
Yeah. It
That
shows
was,
how poorly thought out the original engineering was. Especially with the fucking commodities. Holy fucking
Oh
spanking
god.
fetus
Yes.
on fire.
Oh my god.
I mean, you recall 1,000, and that was it. 1,000 of and that was a uncommon pool for all of them.
500 data. Right?
Yeah, 500 data.
Oh, you don't need data that much, but still, yeah.
But still, it was ridiculous. You at
Yeah,
least
it
throw
was a
shit
little
away, right? Because it was like, what am I going to throw away so that I can use, that I can keep what I really need, right? I'd say for like to continue the trend we're on here, for me, like, I would agree absolutely 100% with both things that Astro just said, right? I think both have been huge steps in the right direction. I think that for me, I'll admit, like when the first engineering changes were proposed, I was pretty down on let me explain this as I say it, the non-randomness of the engineering roles, right? Because to me, the problem with engineering wasn't the randomness of the roles. That was a symptom of the problem of being unable to collect things easily, right? If we'd have been able to collect things this is maybe too much, but at 10 times the rate we had before, I don't think the randomness would have necessarily been as big a problem. And what I kind of liked about it was the uniqueness it gave, right? In terms of, like, I remember Minnie was on my stream the other night and was talking about, like, he was trying to break the jump distance record, right? And had some kind of plan for how he was going to do it, right? And I said, well, okay, that's great and all, but it's not like that record's meaningless now, because if I get your build in a few hours, I can go do the exact same thing, where that used to be something that was meaningful. Right now, at the same time, well, let me finish. At the same time, I will now completely eat those words a little bit and say the end result of what we have now, right, which is we've got balance to a large degree in the ships, right? You've got, there's not as big a guessing game in terms of like, you know, do I really need that secondary? Do I really need to roll for this? Do I need to wait for that? It's just, you know, you go do your work and you're done and you can get back to playing. I think it was definitely a step in the right direction, right? Because when it comes down to it, you know, I think a lot of people with the old system a lot of times would blame, you know, like, oh, the way he killed me because his ship was better engineered or better built than mine, right? When in my strong opinion, the reality is I've never once lost a fight because the other guy's ship was better. I lost a fight because he was better. And 99.99% of the time, that is the case. But I think mentally removing that and just knowing that, okay, my ship is done. It's as good as it basically can be. It's as good as it is. I don't have to spend any more time wondering or worrying about it. To me, that was a very positive change.
So I'm torn. I have two things, and they've both changed the way that I play Elite. First of all, the wing missions. I adore them.
Weren't wing missions introduced before?
They were introduced in the first part of the first patch of Beyond.
Yeah, that is right.
Yeah, 3.0.
My very first video was actually on
Would you
wing
like
missions.
a very brief overview of the 3.0 patch, just to remind
Oh
ourselves?
God, go for it.
There was a shit ton in it,
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
I have the patch.
It might be helpful for me
Yeah.
because I have to be honest, I don't really remember what came in
So-
and what patch
Neither
should be
do I.
on.
Right, okay, so 3.0 had the crime redo and everything associated with it. It brought in wing missions, the whole mission depot thing. Alongside that, it also brought in the reward choice for missions, allowing you to take in materials and that sort of thing.
That's right.
Then ships, there were the new alien attack craft. I believe that was the Scouts? Question mark?
Yeah, I think.
I
Were
don't
Scouts
think so. I
introduced
think-
earlier?
I thought Scouts were 3.1.
Yeah.
No,
And that's why I said
That might have
question
been-
mark.
Yeah, okay, fair
Anyway,
enough, fair enough. But we've gotten them. We've gotten
it-
Scouts, you know,
Yeah,
since
it
then.
was a
Yes.
Thargoid of some kind was introduced in 3.0 anyway. Added the Chieftain. Also, the Keeley was finally freed. And the Killback supported multi-crew.
And the Chieftain
Um,
for me, I mean, that became my main combat ship, so I'm definitely with you on the Chieftain.
So there were the Galaxy map changes to bring more data in about, like, allow more trade data to be displayed on the Galaxy map. The Engineers rework. The weapons, the tech brokers were introduced, and their first bunch of stuff: the shot cannon, the flechette launcher, the enzyme missiles, the meta alloy hull reinforcements, and also the recon limpet controller was introduced. Galnet audio became a thing.
Yes.
Installation and megaship interactions happened, which are pretty neat, let's be honest. The surface material system was overhauled somewhat. They added a load of quality of life features, synthesis for tech broker, and AX weapons, some Kovas stuff.
The new planets. I mean, the look of
Yeah, no
planets.
planets don't.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah.
Was that? Oh,
Yep.
that,
Oh, yeah.
sorry.
Yep.
That was listed in surface material system, and it's so I thought that would have a section to itself, and it didn't.
Yeah.
It's the coloration of surfaces now more clearly telegraphs the chemical makeup and volcanic activity of the world. An improved contrast and coloration variation across and between bodies. Basically, the planets no longer look shit.
They look just less shit.
No, they are. I like
More-
the planets as they
more
are. They're
just darker.
realistic. They're realistic as
Okay, more realistic shit. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yay!
The
We're
ignore
being
target,
positive now, Yamiks.
The ignore
positive.
target.
Oh, it's brown! What do you want from me, goddammit?
Well, the ignore target feature for materials and commodity collectibles. Was
Yeah, that's
added, which is
that's actually pretty good.
That was a huge.
That was a good one.
Increased maneuverability benefits when boosting based on the engineering pips. On the engine
pips.
Option added so players can now choose how flight controllers address them. Commander name, ship name, or ship ID when approaching a station. Nice for role players. Ability to see at a glance the quality and inventory quantity of materials targeted. per material storage caps. That's another massive thing.
That
right?
was completely agreed. That was a massive one.
Increased rewards at search and rescue contact, and high value super cruise targets for pirates to raid. Large number MISC features, large number of Commander Journal updates. Consoles got Portuguese language support and 11 new achievements for the Xbox One.
Oh, yes, the achievements.
Yeah, achievements are so important.
There were also over 1,000 bug fixes that I am not going to. So I've got the 3.1 patch notes. I haven't got 3.2.
1,000 bug fixes in my UI.
Just go to that whole forum thread there. That big, you know, forum thread.
Well, to summarize 3.1 very quickly, you had new wing missions, the mining ones in particular, high threat USSs, and missions that direct players to them. Mega ship and installation interactions were expanded. Crime and punishment got a slight retwig. Some new tech broker weapons, the plasma shot cannon, the shard cannon, and the plasma launcher. The Guardian FSD became available, a booster became available, and the Challenger and Crate Mark II.
It's a lot of stuff.
That FSD booster.
I would actually like, Yamiks, can we just try to pull you out of your comfort zone? What was your favorite thing that's been added in this year so far?
My comfort zone? Why does everyone think that my comfort zone is not saying good things?
Well put, Astro. Because it's not.
Because it's...
How's it's not?
We should put up a poll asking me, do you think that that's in Yamik's comfort zone or not?
It's like, you guys know what I feel. I mean...
No, I mean, like I said before, we all know that just like us, you absolutely love the game. If you didn't, you wouldn't be sitting
No, I absolutely don't love the game. I just like it.
You know what? This reminds me of when you were on the stage at Fantasticon and Zach asked you what's the greatest thing about Elite.
I love how your mind went to the same place as me.
Okay, the same thing. I'm like,
what was the fill the rest of us in? What was the answer? What happened?
Yeah, I want to know.
Like, finish that story.
So he sat there and squirmed for a few seconds, and then was,
I didn't.
You did squirm.
Squirmed.
You didn't want to answer.
What? No. Okay, so to tell the story.
You did have an answer. You did have an answer.
Yeah, right. So to tell the story there, basically, I got the question asked. Now I barely could hear what the people were saying. First things first. After I heard the question there, it was like, now what to choose? I seriously, it was, again, yeah, I do play up things right now even, right? And the whole thing, it might sound like squirming, but honestly, all I'm doing is just thinking, okay, so I made the top 10 list of best things in Elite. Now, which one to choose to say? Or rather, which one I remember. Now, I wanted to say music, but the one thing that I said there was the interaction with your ship is the thing that I really like, and I still do. The fact that you don't need to switch to another window or need to open another menu to interact with your ship. That is the wonderful thing, the most awesome thing that I've seen, you know, in a game, well, modern game, because every other game that you see often is just you press a button, another menu opens on your screen, and it's not in a game world. And that is what I fucking loved in the first place about the Elite. Oh, aside from the... oh wait, no, my answer was the ability to interact with your ship in such a detail. That was my answer, not... But still, the UI is also a fucking good thing. Now, it glitches out oftentimes, but regardless, it's not a thing that does... you know, happen that often. Still, as for the best thing in the in Beyond, I'd say generally the thing that has worked out the best, or rather has been the biggest step towards the right direction, was engineering. Honestly, it changed from a fucking slot machine, a fucking gambling machine, to an actual thing that is usable for a game to be, you know, predict at least some sort of result. So that was a good thing, and everything that came along with engineering. That is, Of course, the storage for gameplay tokens, that was a nice thing. Again, the storage for materials, whatever. Let's see, a crate was a fucking awesome ship. Even though you might think that I hate it in general, I do still hate the, you know, the color inside, and I hate the wires and what else. It doesn't make sense lore-wise and all that stuff because it's a new ship, but even so, now, Crate is a fucking awesome ship. That's literally, I mean, it's a fucking Python, yeah? And building something that even looks better than fucking Python, you know, in general sense, aside from the cockpit, is a good thing, in my opinion. And the trailer was also quite interesting and funny to parody. Let's see, what else? In this Beyond, quality of life improvements weren't that many. Honestly, the most came basically at the start of the year, and nothing else really came out of it much later on. There was like 1 or 2 of them, but they were so fucking gettable that I don't even remember. Guardian fighters, they look awesome, they sound awesome, they feel awesome, but they are basically shit to use, and they are tainted by the fucking personal narrative. So I can't really say that that's the best thing, unfortunately.
When you say shit to use, do you mean to get or to
function wise? They're too weak. They overheat. Again, they do feel experimental, sure, but the problem is, unfortunately, that even experimental stuff in, you know, games and what else that gets introduced tends to be useful at least in something, and unfortunately, Guardian fighters are really not. I mean, yeah, sure, the lance is usable right now to kill things, right, but you need a player for that, because AI is not made for, well, fighter AI is not made for railgun weaponry. And it just charges an enemy, and guess what it does once it does charge? It explodes, because it's too weak to defend itself. And so on. So, yeah, unfortunately, fighters are almost something that I would like to say, yeah, it's awesome, like it finally, but no, it's not. Let's see, wing missions, another wasted potential, so let's not talk about that. But yeah, I'd say engineering in my mind would be the biggest change that has been a slight step in the right direction, because engineering material side is still broke as fuck, as we talked about. We still have blueprints that are they don't make sense. There are also the fact that most blueprints in general just give absurd levels of boosts. Shield would be the greatest one, and of course a few other things as well, but yeah, so on and so forth. So all that needs to be addressed, but at least, you know, they removed the fucking Gambletron 2000s. That's nice. But then again, it's like we polished the shit so that it's, you know, not a diarrhea anymore. Now it's more condensed. So I don't know if you can be really that positive about it. Unfortunately, the whole year, what I wanted from this year was really just quality of life improvement. All I wanted was developers have the maintenance phase set in for the game, or they're developing something completely else. Okay, send 2 or 3 guys from your fucking team to work on balance, pure numbers, and let's polish at least a little bit of the game and make sure that, you know, the core of it works really well and is super stable. But here we are, and what we got is just something here, something there, nothing really of substance anywhere. And that would be your truly presentation.
Paroxsym, what's your take?
You know, personally, there's really not a whole lot of things in the Beyond series that really kind of tickle my pickle, so to speak. About the most commonly used thing for me that's come out of Beyond is the shot cannon. So that's really going to be about my favorite thing out of the whole 9 yards. I've not even. Really? I love the shot cannons. Those things are fun.
Didn't see that one coming, but okay.
yeah.
Are you kidding? Like, one of my favorite things to do. Like, this is just kind of a stream-specific thing for me, but I have a Viper that has 2 medium shot cannons and 2 pulse lasers on it, And I will, with my streams, sometimes do bonus streams where I start taking vodka shots and take the Viper into the Haz-Res and go ham with it and see what kind of nonsense I can pull off. And by God, even completely plastered, that thing is killing things that it should not.
Because of those. Using the gimbal or the fixed?
I use fixed.
Yeah, you have to. So, the jitter on the gimbaled one is just atrocious.
Well, yeah, the gimbals, you know, they suck.
Yeah, you fire it like 3 times, and all of a sudden the jitter is like, you know, 10 degrees or something. It's
it is bonkers.
If you fire it slow, it's not too bad. Yeah. But yeah, if you pow 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 pow, it's just like, you know, it's like a Cyto scrambler with rapid fire, right?
Yeah, basically. But yeah, that's one of the fun things that I do. I immensely enjoy it. It sounds like nonsense because it is nonsense, but it's what I do.
Each to its own.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, okay.
Obsidian, that's about it. I've not done one single wing mission or anything this entire time, so I can't really speak to anything.
You should, if you need some credits, ping me later. We've been making a couple $100 million an hour doing them.
Well, in a one specific area, probably.
Of course, you can't tell Down to Earth or Yamiks the system I'm going to give you.
Oh, I'll find it. Don't you worry.
Only requirement.
Once I have the time. I think I know what you're talking about already. But no, fuck it.
I will confirm or deny nothing. Ant, what's your take? What's your favorite?
Yeah, so for me, the biggest thing for Elite right from the start has always been the galaxy itself. And that's just the sheer scale of it and the sheer, I guess you could say, variety. When you've travelled around enough, things do start to look the same. But when you get to different areas, you get different combinations of things, and that kind of went downhill in season 2 with the Beige planets and all the rest of it. So the best thing for me, really, out of the Beyond season so far was when they fixed and improved the planetary surfaces and the planetary colours and the lighting down there.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good, right? I kind of forgot about that. So that was the only thing that I have no complaints about.
Yeah.
All I want is just more of it. There you go.
Yeah, definitely more of that. Made it. Oh, just brought back the sense of wonder and the sense of scale of everything again. After everything going beige, back in season 2, there was a lot of, especially the early part of season 2, there was a lot of fantastic planets out there. I don't think we've got quite back to that kind of scale and variety again, but we're 100 times better than where we were in the mid to later parts of season 2. And I've also liked everything that's added to that sense of I don't know what to say, living galaxy, but you know, the galaxy that's out there. But that's all the different assets that have been added. We've got, you know, more recently with patch 3.2, there was the Guardian beacons, and
which are awesome.
It's unfortunate that there's not a huge amount of gameplay around them.
Oh, I agree with that. Really,
yeah.
It's 5 minutes and that's it, basically.
That's it. Right? But they're so wonderfully designed and so.
Yeah. It's an awesome 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It really is. Be nice to have more reasons and opportunities to go back to them.
Yeah. It's like that first time in high school. It's just awesome, but it's only awesome for 5 minutes.
It's that first time.
Then somebody just bullies you for the rest of the fucking time, and that's your personal narrative.
The bully grind.
Oh god.
Yeah.
But then, I think there's been quite a few different assets added in like that. The Nara bases were another ones. There was that one. I made Yamiks laughing a little while ago. The one in the pea soup. Remember that, Yamiks?
Damn it!
When I said it was down in the thick green fog, and I called it pea soup.
Yeah. That was in 3.1. Is that right?
Right.
Chapter
3.1
2
or 3.2. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, 3.1. Must be 3.1.
I think it was
quite close
3.1.
together, weren't they? 3.1 and 3.2.
Yeah.
Yeah, the generation ships, the mega ships, just everything to give you a reason to go out there and start looking for things. And it's probably a different side of looking into things to you guys are, because for you it's very much with the different gameplays and the different game mechanic additions or changes. But for me, it's just the sense of different things to go out there and find, different things to explore.
Sure.
I don't want to focus too much on how difficult it can be to find those things, or a lack of reason to go back and revisit them, or like with the new megaship interactions, the fact you don't get a particularly good reward from them. So that, you know,
the only thing, you know what,
on the negative sides for them, but you know, we're looking at the positive side, and there's a lot of nice different extra things.
Well, if I clarify one thing there, and I would say, as far as the mega ships, there is one actually really good thing to do at them, which is hack them for data, right? It's not the most efficient way to get data, but it is a good way to get data if you're going for data, right?
Yep.
True.
Yep.
So like cargo rewards, you're right. It's absurd, right? But if you're going for data specifically, like the Jameson crash site is far more efficient, but hacking them is far more fun.
Yeah.
Right. I actually really enjoy that. All the different mechanics you have to use. And,
Isn't it easier too? Like you just shoot it once and that's about it, rather than just
you have to
sit in
you have
a
to scan it.
and
You have to well, you scan it. You send out the recon limpet. You go silent running. You wait. You feel like you're doing something wrong to me, right? Because you got to go silent at the right time or stay silent the whole time, and you're hacking it. It just it feels more engaging, right?
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Yep. So, yeah, it's just that sense of scale and. Sorry, I'm just knocking my bloody mic. Twice I've done it now. Yeah, track
you
now.
forgot the last one.
But no, the sense of scale is.
Yeah, the sense of scale and the way it kind of slowly starts bringing things together. I mean, you've got the Thargoid civilization out there, you've got the Guardian civilization out there, and it's still all kind of feels separated. But the more they're adding in, the more it's kind of pulling together. And I think that's something that is coming together a bit more in season 4, chapter 4. Yeah. That's something, it kind of goes into another topic we might want to talk about.
We'll see. Maybe they'll pull another Genosis cone sector thing. Who knows?
Yeah, well...
Wouldn't that be interesting?
I was going to go into the topic of the visit to Frontier. I don't know if you guys want to
go
talk
for
about
it. Okay, so for context...
I'm curious, because... Should we...
so give everybody the background on it. I mean,
exactly.
Set it up here for everybody.
Okay, yeah. I mean, obviously, there's only certain things we can talk about. There was a number of us that got invited into Frontier. Got an invite a little while ago. It was quite short notice, actually.
Yeah, it was, I think. DJ notified me about that thing, I don't know how long. I don't know.
I didn't notify you about anything. I simply asked if you'd received.
Right, you asked me, right.
I said, have you received an interesting email?
Was it like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Barely.
Something like that.
It was quite short notice anyway. So
yeah, it's short notice. Anyways, carry on.
It turned out that we obviously didn't know, because we're not allowed to talk about it, so we didn't really know who was going, who got invited and who hadn't. And we got up to Frontier yesterday, so that was the day of the visit. We didn't really know what was going to be shown either. So we were just told that we'd be told that on the day. So it turned out there was about 17 people invited. Some of them were content creators and, from YouTube and streamers. But a good half of them, I'd say, were from other areas of the community. So big player group leaders. I'm trying to think who I can mention, because there might be a few people who perhaps don't want their name said.
Well, there were photographs made. Come on.
Yeah, there were plenty of photographs out there, so it's going to be...
May or may not now be pulling said photo up to show it on stream.
Yeah, but then again, not all names are known, are they? Put people in there. So, yeah, Hutton Truckers, obviously DJ, both the streamer and Sovereignty. Galactic Academy?
Yeah.
Orange Spark, yeah.
Orange Spark, yep. A whole bunch of different people, all from totally different areas of the game. And basically it was to give us a preview of Chapter 4. So, yeah.
So the only two that went there for clarity.
So how was Space Legs?
Exigeous. For clarity's sake, those that went there, DJ and Obsidian, for just clarity's sake. Rest of us were away. Now, carry on, Exigeous.
Yes, it was me and DJ. A few others who have been on the stream before. Scorpius and...
Greatest.
Greatest.
Oh, they were there too? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
They were there too, yeah. But obviously they're not on the stream today, so...
Yeah, sure.
Niku from the French community was there.
Yeah, Podmogus.
Yeah.
They have community? I thought they were cavemans. Oh my god. Frenchies!
Baguettes!
So yeah, there was a general opinion, I think, around, well, looking at the forums a little bit on Reddit, that it was all content creators that had been invited down, but it, completely wasn't a case of that. Content creators were probably, maybe half, probably less than half of the amount of people that were actually invited. So Frontier did try and get quite a good
that's
spread.
cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Quite a good spread from the community, but there's only limited room, so there's only so many people that could invite. But we can talk a bit about things. But obviously, when we got down there, we were given NDAs as well, so we're limited to what we can talk about. Yeah, so they're new offices. New offices are brilliant.
Is this the first time you've been to their new offices, or how long?
Been to the new offices, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I went down to Frontier last year, but that was at their old offices.
Yeah.
So and they had 3 different buildings at that time. I only went to one of them.
Yeah, you and I have been to both the old and
they got
new
everyone
offices.
They got everyone in the new one now. One thing we did learn was they've now got 400 people working at Frontier.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, they've grown quite a lot then. Holy crap.
Yeah, it was about 350, I think, last time we talked about it.
360 is the last number I remember.
Yeah, it's around about 400 now. And they've got a load of room to expand still. They've still got quite
Probably
a few
most
floors
are just QA testers anyways.
Well, one of the interesting bits is that there's an area that's not finished yet that they're developing for more space. That's how sort of rapidly they're
That was nearly a whole floor as well. So.
Yeah.
There's probably, I'd say, a floor and a half that wasn't occupied yet.
Yeah, so they've got plenty of room left even.
Yep.
Yeah, and we didn't get to see any of the other floors, but we did get to see the floor for Elite, and it's pretty much an entire half a floor. It is dedicated just to Elite developers. Yeah, I can hear you thinking, what the heck? But yeah,
there are 100 of them. They're not lying.
Yeah, there is half a floor there. There is that many desks.
But most of them probably work in different projects, so you can't say that
right,
they
so
are
it doesn't,
dedicated after all.
They're dedicated to Elite Dangerous. At least that's what we were told. Got no reason personally to doubt them. That doesn't include QA testers. It doesn't.
Of course,
include...
QA testers are just
versatile
and disposable sometimes, unfortunately.
Yep. Literally was purely people who work on Elite Dangerous. No, not HR. Nothing like that. Which is what some people have been suspecting or expecting.
So, Obsidian, what can you tell the folks about what you guys saw?
So, do you want to talk a bit, DJ?
So, what we can say is that we've seen what you guys have seen so far. And we're allowed to kind of go, yeah, we've seen that in act, like the exploration changes. We've seen that in action.
Yeah.
Okay. The exploration changes are wonderful. But
I assume you can't go into any detail or answer questions.
Can't go into real detail. I can say that what we saw with the exploration changes, like seeing it in action, makes it make a lot more sense. The audio on the exploration changes is something like, I know the audio, we're used to the audio in Elite being next level, yeah?
Yeah,
the audio in this is no. The audio in this is beyond. Yeah.
Beyond stupid?
No.
Beyond ground.
I identified a gas giant by its sound.
Well, you can do that now, can't you?
No.
Well, I was about to say,
no, not like right now. Yeah. I heard what sounded like Jupiter. Yeah, you've heard the recordings of Jupiter. Yeah,
I was about to say,
I was about to say, I
have no idea what Jupiter sounds like.
Right, I've heard that. And
they can party at Jupiter,
noise
man.
Come out, and it went, oh, and I went, that's gas giant, and lo and behold, it was a gas giant. Yeah.
The audio in this they haven't showed everything yet for Chapter 4.
No.
We saw a few extra things, but you know, I want to be really careful about hyping things up, because I'm obviously. DJ can say what he saw is wonderful. I mean, I personally really thought it was brilliant as well, the exploration we saw. But
yeah,
everyone's opinion is subjective. Yeah,
of
course.
So someone else is going to see the same thing and
hate it.
They might hate it.
Really?
And until we only saw it, we didn't get to sit and play it. So again, until it's in your hands,
it'll
But
it looks good.
Chapter 4 is a really big update, and it kind of explains why. The last 2 chapters have been so small, and by comparison, it's much bigger even than Chapter 1.
Yeah.
So
really,
to put this in perspective,
when we say there's 100, or Frontier says 100 people working on Elite, and you kind of look at all the updates we've got this year, and perhaps toward the end of last year as well, and thinking, well, where are they working on? It looks like they've all been working on chapter 4.
And when you look at to put this into perspective, sorry, the presentation we were given wasn't going stupidly in depth on each thing, and it lasted 6 hours.
I was about to ask how long you guys were there.
Yeah, the other thing is, I mean, again, you see comments around. I think people got obviously Frontier did this for PR reasons. They're not going to do this without thinking from a PR perspective. But when you think of it like that, you always imagine a group going in and they're showing like a fluff piece, like a purely promo piece.
Sure.
But it wasn't a case of that. It was getting our opinions, getting our feedback, and taking questions. And people did put some really hard questions to the developers. And it was all presented by the developers and not by the community team. The community team were in the room, but they were sort of to the sides. It was literally the developers talking. And when we asked questions of them, they didn't give us evasive answers. They didn't give us unknown answers.
No.
And they literally gave us an answer to the question we wanted. And if they couldn't answer it, they went out the room and went and got an answer and come back with one. And some people in the room...
Encouraging.
Yes, and some people in the room did put some really hard questions to the developers. Really put them on the spot. So yeah. I mean, if there's anything you guys want to ask or talk
full
about
disclosure,
I will add one more line. Huh? Yeah. I'm a miner now.
I'm really looking forward to that.
What?
Now I'm
a miner now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see the mining update too. I guess, I mean, it's hard to ask questions.
No. Hold on. DJ, what?
Yeah.
He's going to mine.
You heard me.
Mining asteroids.
I'm a miner now.
Like, it's hard to ask questions, obviously, because of, we don't know what you can and can't say. I guess, I think a comment somebody said was maybe about, and I don't know where I saw this, if it was in chat or something, about potentially when the beta was coming. Is that something you can talk about?
We don't know.
Hashtag
I can tell
soon.
you that we don't know that.
Yeah, hashtag soon. Yeah.
Again, the thing I don't like about the situation is that it kind of puts us on the spot because you end up doing the same as what Frontier do. Oh, it's really great, it's really exciting, but I can't tell you anything about
They
it.
just put They just put you in the same place that they put themselves constantly, which sucks. Right.
Yeah.
Except for we're not Frontier.
Yeah, no, but you can't. You have to toe the same line.
Yeah,
that they do.
and
So
I will sit here, and if you ask me exploration, I'm all flowers. Mining, I'm all flowers. Yeah. Squadrons, I'm worried about.
Yep.
I can't talk about it beyond that.
Why, but yeah.
But I'm worried about squadrons.
So that's the thing,
right?
Frontier obviously they're taking a risk coming in and showing people stuff because not everyone who's there is a fanboy, yeah?
Yeah. And as much as
I'll
wax lyrical about the vast majority of what we saw...
fanboy person, right?
Yeah. And as much as I'll wax lyrical about the vast majority of what we saw, I am worried about squadrons.
Yeah, so whilst Frontier might say, sit there and say, oh, it's really exciting, it's brilliant, but we can't talk about it, the difference is from the people that have visited, what we're coming, the only reason we'd be saying that is if we genuinely think that.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Otherwise, just either, wouldn't talk about it, give you an evasive answer, or just say, what DJ said, he's got worries about squadrons. So, and I think that's something quite a few people actually had. It's one of the areas we put the developers on a bit of a spot on.
I will, however, say that probably, in fact, no, the most exciting stuff about this update hasn't been announced yet.
Okay, but
interesting.
Yeah, so since obviously you guys can't really say much other than there's been some awesome stuff shown. I think an interesting question is what your guys' view are on this kind of release strategy the Frontiers put out in the Q4. I mean, we had the Horizon series where we had 4 patches that were. I mean, we had the first patch, which was obviously the major patch because of planetary landings, but then the 3 preceding patches were like kind of equal in size, as I recall them. And now they've gone over to a method that says huge patch at the beginning, which in my mind makes absolutely sense, and then 2 very, very small patches and
Content
then
updates.
something massive at the end of the year. What should
I hope they don't do it again.
Yeah. Okay. So my point of view on it is well, if that's going to be a common thing, which it can't be, because if they're going to do that next year, that means that the next patch, which then people are expecting to be 4.0 patch, it's also going to be a massive one. They don't really have had the time, unless that's going to be something that's going to launch at the end of next year. They don't really have the time to develop a new massive patch anytime soon, which would then indicate that if they're going for that same release strategy with big, small, small, big, that there's going to be a very long time before we're going to begin to see any new patches. So I personally don't hope they're going to go for that again. I much more like the release strategy used in the Horizon series, where they kind of evened it out a little bit more.
Every 6 months, a big update.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. For full disclosure part,
You go for it.
yeah. So
What you guys think?
are you yeah, go. Never mind me.
No, go on, Yamiks.
No,
Yeah.
please, Yamik. Go
So
for
my
it.
question then to Obsidian and DJ is for full disclosure part, of course, if you are allowed to say or not. You got just an invite. You had to go there yourselves by your own power, or were you flown in?
They paid. There was all the costs
Okay,
on them.
there we go.
Yeah.
That's kind of important to do.
Actually, that is
Yeah.
important
Yeah.
to state.
Yeah, of course.
So-
Yes.
Yeah.
Wouldn't say otherwise. There's quite a few people that come from America as well. Obviously, that's quite a cost to Frontier.
And I think, to be honest, the size of the group, that was largely down to cost. Yeah. I think were budget unlimited, they would have bought a lot more people.
Have you
But,
seen their financial report, DJ?
the budget
Come
still
on.
isn't unlimited, Yamiks.
Have you seen what their stock has done, Yamiks?
I've seen
sure
also
budget
that.
was the concern.
I've also seen their stock. Yes, it's an interesting thing.
Which is a fairly normal thing for a game for a games company in the
40%
period
drop
that
in 4 months is not normal for any publicly traded company.
they're
Is it
on,
already
it's also
40?
based in the
40%.
UK, don't forget.
Mm.
Which
Isn't
at
that
the
much?
moment is a
That kind of
volatile as fuck market because of Brexit. But that's getting into politics, and let's not get into politics.
Suck a dick, Brexit, haha!
But the honest truth is, I think, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I certainly didn't get the feeling speaking to everyone else in the evening when we went for a meal. You didn't get the impression that anyone came away from that feeling negative. In fact, Bog has tweeted this evening that he feels utterly reinvigorated with the game because of it.
Well, sure.
In the near
I mean,
future, they're going to be revealing the stuff that, it's not going to be long till you guys see what we saw, right? And it'll be wonderful to be able to talk about it as it's released. And trust me, there is so many things that are coming that is so exciting.
Oh Jesus fucking Christ, that name!
You said the word.
I'm sorry, it's true. It's true.
Do we have Frontier on stream all of a sudden?
We have exciting updates.
I'm gonna get
Oh,
out
it's
my bingo.
exciting.
Wow.
Everything's exciting.
Well,
Let's
no,
get
but-
going.
But
I
no,
think I'm
seriously.
done with the stream for today, everybody. It's
Yep.
been nice.
Me too. That's about it.
Well,
I'm done. Yeah, time to wrap up.
Oh, go on, by all means, though. I think you've got to say what you think. I'll ask what you want to ask. Say what you think about this, the way it was. I don't know, say handled, but what do you think of a bunch of people being invited into Frontier in that sort of way?
Oh, I think it's great. I have no issues with that. I think it was. I mean, I was there, so I can't obviously comment on it, but I think
Yeah.
it was.
No,
yeah.
and obviously from the point of view of people hearing about it. Obviously, like you say, you weren't there, so
Yeah.
is it something you think's an okay approach, or?
Oh, 100%. I think I think it's a bummer from the standpoint of what you just said, Ant, that, it's more, look, what DJ just said sums it up. It's more rah, but I can't tell you anything. And everybody's sick to fucking death of that, right? Sure,
Yep.
for you guys, it's great, right?
Yep.
I'm glad to see Frontier communicating, period. I wish that communication was much more public and much more open, right? At this point, in a way, I don't see why they wouldn't have just shown that to the entire community, right? Like bring you guys in to get feedback yesterday, to to get some focus feedback from a small group, and then today show that entire thing to everybody.
Yeah.
Where's the problem with that, right?
Well, so one of the reasons for that, I think, is because it's still, as Ed tweeted yesterday, it's still in pre-alpha.
Well, sure.
Yeah,
And
so obviously it changes.
We're all adults. We all know how gaming works. Right?
Yeah,
Get
no,
the feedback
I
from
agree
you
with
guys.
that. They can still show anyway.
With everybody, right? Exactly. Communicate with all of us, right?
The problem is, you say we're all adults, but the truth is, it's the internet.
Oh yeah, fair enough. But you're going to have the haters hating anyway, right?
Yeah.
By communicating to a large degree, those of us that are fanboys of the game, right? That want to be fanboys of the game, like myself, I would say. Now we've got something to actually talk about and something to discuss and give real feedback on, instead of all this just sitting around wondering and conjecture and the bullshit we're in, which is where we constantly are with the league. Right.
And I think that that's going to be happening over the next few weeks. Like, I don't think that that's not going to happen. To be honest with you, they wouldn't.
But it's always
release
the next
everything.
few weeks.
Well,
it's always.
No, but it's not.
Right.
This is actually the next few weeks. Yeah.
DJ, for the last 4 years, it's been the next few weeks. Like 2 months ago, it was the next few weeks. It was. There's always. There's something better.
Will come out, right? It's not like they haven't been releasing patches.
Stop and beat my head against the wall.
What do you mean then? They're going to release this information.
Every time they talk about something, it's always something is coming, right? We get 90% something's coming and 10% here it is, right? And this is just and again, I'm glad they did this with you guys, right? But it's another.
The game is like an impotent male. Something is always coming. It's coming. It's gonna be coming. I'm coming.
I'm glad you and I had the same thought there.
Yamiks has to take it to there. Nice.
Oh hey, what do you expect from me?
I'm not complaining. Of course you do.
The important thing I took away from it is that it explained for me why the other updates this year have been a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I took away from it. Yeah, it suddenly made sense to me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's great to hear. Yeah.
I mean, there really wouldn't have been any other reason for those updates to be so small unless the last one was going to be a whopper.
And to be fair to them, they did point that out in their roadmap last year.
Well, yeah, they always did say that Chapter 4 was going to be the biggest one out of all of it.
When you still see some of the stuff, DJ, it's still, I can understand why people look at, like, Chapter 3, for example, and think, well, what the heck is this?
Yeah, right.
That makes no sense. Yeah.
It almost feels like a weekly patch
it does make
rather
sense
than
when you look at it in hindsight.
Yeah.
I mean, I do agree with your point as well, Exigeous, because from that point of view, you're always waiting through the whole year for the next thing to happen, and it just seems like it's never happening. Yeah, and then when it does happen, you get Chapter 3.
Right. I mean, somebody in my chat just posted, the thing is, we're way past quote unquote something soon, right? Like it's been way too long for something soon. Yeah, we're to it really now probably is something soon, and soon is probably actually soon.
Technically, this is the 5th financial year.
Right.
5th financial year of Elite Dangerous. Just to point that out.
Right.
So, I wouldn't normally go to chat, but Prime9, who is Mark Allen from FDev, as we're on full disclosure, has just said, from having seen gaming communities from both sides, I think it's pretty common that the most hardcore fans get a lot more something's coming than something's here. You're the guys who see every message. The majority of fans only pay attention to a relatively thin slice, and PR never wants them to miss the message. And that, I think, is a valid point. I'm not...
That's actually a fair point, yeah.
Yeah, I think that is...
I'll give them that.
I think it is too, but I think in this case, Frontier takes that to the incredible extreme, to the point that your average player is also feeling the something soon problem.
But can I finish this up with...
sure.
I think when, having seen everything, I will look back at Beyond as a whole, not its release strategy necessarily, but Beyond as a whole, I will look at entirely happily.
You better bring out something interesting, because as far as it is, it looks really, really lackluster, even for the releases in the past. So, yeah.
I mean, how did you guys feel about Horizons in hindsight, compared to how you felt about it as it was being released? Yeah. If you look at Horizons as a collective.
Horizons is now a complete. You suggest everyone buys it, right? Because it adds so much to the game. There's so much content to it, right?
Had you been there on patch 2.0, you may not have necessarily said the same thing, right?
And a lot of people didn't, right? An awful lot of people at the release of Horizons were very much with the what's this? Yeah. And so looking back with hindsight is quite a big thing. Yeah.
So, okay, I just wanted to raise one point with the whole the whole alpha meeting or whatever you want to call it. And first of all, I just wanted to clarify that I think it's wonderful to see that Frontier is beginning to communicate more with the community. Not necessarily only the content creators and the spokespersons for larger communities, but in general that they're beginning to listen a little bit more to the community, because that's been a general point that I see often, that people feel they're disconnected from the developers. But that being said, that having a selected number of people come to the community and not even talk to the rest of them has created a lot of salt. I'm not gonna point out any names or anything, but I mean, if you go to Twitter or Reddit or anything, you can find some
You'll
salt.
find the salt pretty easily.
You will find the salt of people who thought that they were, I don't know if they feel like they were important enough, they should have been there, but there's definitely some people. And I think was it you, Obsidian, who said that you talked to Zach about it, and he said he had a list of over 100 people who he would have loved to have there, but of course, money don't grow on trees, so they couldn't get everyone when there. I don't know. I feel like it is a bit of a gamble that when they do it, they risk splitting the community, or at least not influencers. I hate that word, but content creators or community spokespersons, they kind of risk splitting them up into to two groups, like the people Frontier like versus the people Frontier don't care about. That's at least how it's can look from outside, and that's some of the arguments
it gets split into elite versus plebs.
Yeah, exactly. And that's some of the arguments that I've seen. I don't really agree.
I can totally understand where you're coming from on that.
I just want to clarify that I don't necessarily agree with that, but it's just a point that I've been seeing people make, and whether you like it or not, it's a real risk that someone's gonna go, okay, so if they don't care about me, I'm not gonna care about them, and people might just get so angry that they completely lose interest. But I don't know if people would take it that far. But
it's kind of difficult, isn't it? I mean, on the one hand, Frontier aren't the only company to do this. Quite a lot of companies actually do this, open up for private showing of stuff. I think Warframe did it as well quite recently, didn't they? Around about the same time as TennoCon. I don't know if it was actually the same day as TennoCon. That's their convention for Warframe, but I know they invited a group of people into their offices. It's certainly not unusual, but yeah, I do take that point.
So here's a question on that then. Does anyone have a problem with journalists being shown stuff before the public?
I don't have a problem with anybody being
Depends
shown
what
stuff.
it is, really.
No, you see my point though, yeah? In a very real way, influencers...
We are media, regardless.
We are media, right? And that the fact that and the fact that they actually expanded it beyond that was the thing that I was really happy to see. That I thought it was just going to be influencers, and to see it go beyond that was brilliant. It's obvious they would have loved to have brought a huge number more people, but you know, it's the real world. There's only so much monies, and in reality, let's be serious. The fact that they're doing it, and the fact that for me their primary goal wasn't PR. If their primary goal had been PR, there wouldn't have been the nonsense beforehand where all of us weren't allowed to say where we were going.
See, the other thing I'd say with that, DJ, is that if it was purely about PR, they would have done the same as they did with Jurassic World.
Yeah.
With Jurassic World, they invited in a bunch of whole big YouTubers, wasn't it? People with like 2-3 million subs. People have possibly never played Frontier games before. They're just bringing them in, taking them out to LA, and sitting them down and look at this. And it wasn't a case of that. It was a case. Yes, they did select a few content creators from a massive list of content creators out there, but they also invited in player groups as well. And they invited in other people from the community, not all the people that perhaps could have gone or should have gone. But
So you're saying there would be some people that shouldn't have gone?
No,
there was
people. Every single person there should have been there. I think everyone there proved that with the questions that were asked. And to be honest, I think the primary thing for Frontier, to sort of finish the point, was... or not finish the point, finish the thought. I apologise. That sounded so rude. I'm sorry. To finish the thought, it wasn't for PR. It was for feedback. They wanted to know what we thought. And the honest truth is, we do represent a lot of people between the people that were in that room. And that makes a certain amount of sense.
Yeah, I personally have no problem with it. I mean, I get, as
I was just before, that was kind of in response to what down to earth.
No, I mean, as commented before, I can understand why somebody would be emotional about not being invited, right? I mean, it's never fun to feel like you were left out of one of the cool kids, right? But I think when you take emotion out of it, you think about it, I mean, there are realities of the cost of getting people there, bringing people together. I mean, it's, you've got to make a list somewhere, and some people aren't going to make the cut, right? And
yeah, that's unfortunate, but life.
I would have loved to have been invited myself. Am I upset that I didn't get invited? No. I mean, right? Like, what good does that do, right?
Yeah. So Mace in my chat to finish this off has actually just summed that up really well. He said, so it was a reality check from an FDev point of view. Yeah, pretty much. That's what it felt like. Them going, right, how is this going to be taken?
Hell, I'm just happy to hear they're asking somebody's opinion.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
Even
for the
that
most
much
part,
is
it
a
sounds
step
like
forward.
the opinions, for the most part, the opinions that they asked, I think are, I'm happy for some of those opinions to be speaking for me.
But it might also just be a reflection that Frontier knows how important it is. I mean, we all know that there's lately been a general negativity in the community. I at least feel it's grown over the last half year. So I think Frontier knows that that a lot is riding on this Q4 update.
Yeah, a lot.
One thing that I wanted to mention as well. I can't remember who it was. Someone said if we have any problems with journalists getting a preview of something beforehand, and no, absolutely not. That makes complete sense. One thing that I do find a little odd though is when there's suddenly, let's say, a new trailer released on insert random news media here.
Yeah, that was really weird.
That's so odd. Like suddenly we go to this channel that I have never heard of, some games news outlet that does whatever, and they have this new trailer that's exclusive on their channel. That's not on Frontier's own channel. It's just like, what? Why?
It raises more questions than it ever could answer. Holy shit!
It was really odd.
Unfortunately, the only I'm not sure if I'm right, but the only reason I can see is that news outlet had paid a lot.
That's the only thing I could think, right? I mean, look, it would make much more sense. It would make more sense for them to release that video on Obsidian's channel, who has more subs than they do, than it would to some random gaming channel that has nothing to do with Elite that none of us have ever heard of.
The idea is to attract new players in.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I think the idea is to attract new players in, wasn't it? You're not going to get new players from me.
Maybe.
No,
I mean, okay,
with the way
it's fair.
hold on. With the way
Obsidian.
YouTube works, it actually would have been more beneficial to put it on Obsidian's channel.
That's actually probably right. Actually, it would have gotten in more recommendations that way, wouldn't it?
But okay, Obsidian, with that kind of argument, then why not say, sure, insert standard news media here, you can post this on your channel, but we are also going to post it on our own official channels as well.
Of course.
Because if we're expecting the audience to be so segmented, then that would make more sense. Then you would reach a larger audience.
Yeah. It would have made more sense to give it to all of us to publish on all of our channels at the same time in that regard, right? So I'm with Astro. The only thing I can think is that they paid.
Unfortunately, I would love to be proven wrong, but I have a gut feeling that it's a cash grab.
I completely agree with that gut feeling. Go ahead, DJ.
What was I going to say? No, it's gone. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
I had something and then it's completely...
It will come back as soon as someone else starts talking.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. It's always...
Isn't that
The main
always
key
case?
point here is, again, full disclosure.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would have
Do it the
been
other way.
nice about the Games and article there. Wouldn't have been. Wouldn't it have been nice to know the
Well,
full disclosure there?
that's if there was anything. Yeah, we can
Of course.
we can think all we want. Yeah, we don't know the truth. For all we know, it's someone's mate, and it was someone doing someone a favor. Yeah, God knows. Right. The honest truth is we don't know why, yeah.
But without
Frontier generally are
clarification,
fairly
you're
upfront
left
about
questioning.
things, let's be
Your
honest.
question. Again.
Yeah, but
the user's questioning quite a bit, isn't it?
Hey, the speculation will always fill a void, right?
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah.
How hard would it have been to fill that void?
All right, we've got Yamiks talking about filling voids. We need to move.
Oh
wrap up.
my!
Well, I was about
Probably.
to say, how big's that schlong? Because you're gonna need a good one.
Well,
We need to move on.
No, Yamiks is tuckered out already.
Do we have
ask-
topics? Yeah, go.
No, I was gonna set you up. Astro.
They
I was gonna
already
say,
are
do you
past
wanna-
the 2-hour
Do you
mark.
want to take us out? Yeah. Why don't you take us out, Astro?
Okay. So I hope that most of you guys who were, well, they're still around, you probably enjoyed at least some of it, and found it interesting. And I think, as always, if people have suggestions for topic they want to hear, they're more than welcome to post to, well, whatever.
Twitters, forums,
Twitters or-
whatever else. We do watch those things.
Random question. Should we start some kind of like elite roundtable, or ask something like a hashtag so people could ask questions with that hashtag on Twitter?
That's a good idea. Yeah. Hashtag. You guys forced me into fucking use Twitter. We might as well get something out of it.
lol.
So
Yeah.
what are we using? Like elite roundtable or ED roundtable or
Creators Roundtable. Just how about that? Creators
No, do
Roundtable.
ED Roundtable.
I like
Elite
ED Roundtable.
Creators.
Creators Roundtable is
Alright,
too long.
It's probably taken already. ED Roundtable is better. And
Right,
also,
right.
before we do wrap up, that you've just triggered my memory of something. Someone did a
Probably so.
huge long forum post based on something we were discussing the other week. I don't know if anyone can remember who it was, but thank you. We love that people are listening. It
Oh,
brightens
right.
all our
That
days.
was the crime and
Yeah.
punishment thingamajig.
Yeah, the
that
crime
was.
and
I remember that.
Oh fuck! I forgot his name. Damn it! I told somebody.
I did as well.
It's in
Oh,
my
somebody
fucking
find it
Discord.
here, 'cause I didn't see it. Somebody share if you guys see it later.
It was here in the
I
Discord.
shared it.
Yeah.
Give me a sec.
I missed it then.
Damn it!
Scrolling up.
people are suggesting hashtag EDRT.
Oh, EDRT's good.
Sure. That's probably not used.
Here
There
we
we
go.
go,
I
found
got
it.
it. I got it.
Load you
E-Wanderer.
fuck. Yeah.
I win.
E-Wanderer. Damn it! Damn it, DJ. Damn it.
But seriously, to see someone put that much thought in based off of, and the first two comments are Yamiks and I. Just basically going,
was the first
wow,
one.
this
Haha.
is awesome. Yeah, you were first, I was second. Yeah.
Hey, he's in my chat. So thank you,
wicked.
dude.
Thank you, dude. We really appreciate it.
So
Somebody
we do take.
post it into chat so I can put it in
All
the
right,
chat.
fine.
Thank you. Put it, raise
I
your
was
hand.
about to put it into my chat.
Thank you. Yeah, put
It's
it,
an
raise
interesting
your
read.
hands.
It's definitely an interesting read.
Yeah, I missed it, so I want to read it.
Where is it?
Up your butt. All right, give me a sec.
Oh!
No, I'll post it. There we go.
That is exit only, sir.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that, Sandy?
I am absolutely positive.
Have you tried?
Nope, not exactly willing
Are
either.
you certain about it?
Well, at least it's a short read.
All right, fuck it. Butt jokes aside, I guess that'll be it for today. Anyone else?
Oh, no.
Any
I'm
other
great.
things?
No.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
actually, you know what? Before we end, hold on. Let's go back
Yeah.
to. I wanted to see the end results of Ant's poll.
Poll.
Right, we put up the
yes.
poll
Oh, yeah.
about
Yeah, what is
engineering.
the poll?
Let's
The
have a
poll.
look.
The poll.
Just get that up, and I don't know about you guys, but I'll be hanging out
Wow.
a bit on the stream as well.
Not what I'll be around for just a few minutes myself.
So
Yeah,
hang
I'll
around
probably
with everyone
go
else.
a bit
has
Not
got
what
it
I would have
going.
expected looking at the poll.
Wow.
That's what we got. 772 votes so far,
Whoa.
and 65% people have done between 1 and 100 G5 engineering roles.
Yep.
17% between 101 and 500. 6% between 501 and 1,000. 5% have done between 1,000 and 2,000 rolls, and 6% of people have done over 2,000 G5 engineering rolls.
I do wonder why is that so skewed towards one side.
Oh, I wonder.
Could it be material gathering is bullshit?
Well, if you look at it this way, it's 83% have done less than 500 rolls.
Yep. But basically, the level of engineering may be one ship at most.
1 to 100, that means people have engineered, what, one or that's rolls, right?
2 ships.
Rolls,
yeah.
yes, so that's one ship.
Rolls.
So
Right,
over 50% of the people who have been watching the stream have pretty much engineered one ship. And that's it.
Yeah. Although it has to be said, a lot of people use just one ship. So
That's fair enough. So 50% has made themselves a jumper counter.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much. I'm right now in the middle of, or rather, in the final stages of making my maxed out jump account, and I got like 32 grade 5s. So yeah, 40 would be about one ship. 40 grade 5s would be one ship. And of course, remember, not all of the people do go for maximum rolls as well. They stay at maybe 3, 4, who knows.
Somebody doesn't max out a grade 5. How do you do that? I can't do it.
Unless you can't be asked to get core dynamics in high grade.
Or if you get it close enough that it's not worth the trouble to hit that button.
I would love the stat to know how many core dynamics I've picked up over the course of the game. I guarantee you it's at least 2,000. Right? I did, because the number of hull reinforcements, armors I've got, and my armored power plants is just ridiculous.
Alright, well, I guess yet another episode is more or less done. Any last words on anyone else's parts and stuff?
Nope. I'm good.
No, do you want to very quickly talk about the 2021 thing? I keep getting people ask, otherwise I'll just talk about that afterwards. Up to you guys.
Oh,
yeah, we can leave that for another day.
Oh, I was going to say, tell the story real quick. You know, you brought it up, and just hit on what it is, I would say, for 1 minute.
Well, yeah, but very quickly, and if my chat wants to talk about it more, I'll talk about it with them afterwards. But basically, Frontier released their yearly financial reports very recently. It's a legal obligation for public companies in the UK. Basically, they have to go into a lot of details about their profits and their expenditure and everything like that. One thing that one person picked up and posted on the forums was the end of the Elite Dangerous. I can't remember how it was
expected
phrased.
lifespan.
Expected lifespan. Yeah, the end of the expected lifespan for Elite Dangerous was dated at 2021. So obviously, many people suddenly thought the game's only got a couple of years left. But that's
active development-wise, yes, that's referring to active development, because they will still keep cashing in the microtransactions, baby. The money train ain't gonna stop there, buddy.
Right, so that's something we actually asked Frontier about this. I can't remember. Was you sitting there as well, DJ, or was you down the other end of the room? It might have been you were sitting there with someone else. But it turns out it's just an accounting term. So the way they explained it is essentially the development cost of the game that they initially put down on the game, they then budget out across 10 years or 8 years or whatever it was. And that budget that they spread across that number of years comes to an end in 2021. So it has nothing to do with development time or nothing to do with the lifespan of the game. It's literally to do with, it's an accounting thing.
So wait, so does that mean that in 2021, Elite is now broken even?
No,
Elite broke even sooner than that, I'd say.
It means
I would expect that as well.
Yeah, no, it's just
late.
the development cost of the game. They've basically spread across that number of years. I'm no accountant, so I don't understand the basics of it, or even the complexities of it or whatever. But I was asked a question, that was the answer I was given. So it's not the end of development or anything like that in 2021. It's just down to the way they spread the cost of certain parts of the game.
All right, I got a guy in my chat who says that it's called write-off accounting.
Okay.
Okay, well. No, but overall, when it comes down to games in general terms, multiplayer games, of course, take a little bit longer periods of time to die, sort of. But realistically speaking, Elite Dangerous, in my personal opinion, of course, has, yeah, about 3 years to go, really. It won't really go for the 10 years. Yeah, the last 2 years will be there. Of course, the game will keep going and it will be playable, just like pretty much every other game, as long as, you know, they can afford the servers and all that stuff, which is probably next fucking 15 probably years or whatnot else. But realistically, active development, that is the,
So
you know,
why
huge jumps and things.
Yamiks, and ask why you think that. Why do you think it was...
About 3 years, in my opinion. Active development is about 3 years, yeah. Unless something changes. Again, over time, of course, how much can we buy those microtransactions? How much can, you know, they spend time on title for which, you know, you earn less than on yet another licensed game or a new IP. As David Braben himself wrote, or not reported rather, as it was reported with interview with him in one of the business articles. Fuck, I forgot which one was it, but essentially he did mention that there's a game coming in 2020. And there are 2 other games in very early stages. And I was like, well, yeah. And additionally, of course, a little bit lower than that, Mr. Braben did mention that they aim, of course, not necessarily want, but aim to, you know, release 1 game each year. Or each 12 months or so. So that's an interesting, I guess, strategy for a company. So, of course, a new title will take precedence over a rather really old one, especially the older it gets. So, I mean, sure, Elite could be like EVE Online and just keep propagating itself for a long time. I don't know whether or not that will happen, but in my experience, games...
One point on that, well, just go very quickly, TJ.
Prime9's just said, I can say that I've never heard anyone internally talking about an end date to full development on Elite. Take of that what you will.
That's again, that's...
No, I mean, sure, no one is talking about it, but well,
Sure.
financially you kind of have to look forward.
But
I was just going to ask you, Yamiks. So you're saying that there's a possibility of active development, but obviously when we was down there yesterday, we only saw Chapter 4 content. We know, didn't see anything beyond that. Frontier point blank refused to talk about anything beyond that. But if for example, Space Legs come out, yeah,
okay,
would that change? Would that change your thoughts on that?
It's hard to say because even the best of games do have their lifespan. It's a perpetual, you know, sort of a downwards curve that, well, in some ways, and for Elite it was rather interesting in its development cycle for me to investigate some, you know, Horizons release, for example. You know, when Elite released, right, it got, well, around 8,000 people playing on Steam. I think it was the good old marks there, but as soon as Horizons launched, it was interesting that the numbers increased beyond the initial release. So with a good release, yeah, the game can completely rejuvenate itself in some ways.
How many people were playing No Man's Sky before the recent patch?
No Man's Sky is a good example, but remember, DJ, No Man's Sky was after 2 years.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I'm just saying, how many people were playing it before the most recent patch? It's a good example, yeah, of what a good patch can do.
But
the honest truth is,
doubling Elite numbers right now.
I have to provide another little rebuttal. What's the lifespan on a good MMO? Because World of Warcraft and EVE Online would like to have some words about that, you know? Let's be honest, they're games that are still going.
Say that Elite's not an MMO.
No,
but it has enough components to look like one.
Yeah, let's not have that debate.
Here's a little fact,
please.
Folks. I read the financial report in parts, and yes, the Frontier considers the game as massively multiplayer. It was written in there, so there you go. So there's no if and ands or buts about it.
Am I the only one that dreams about a day when Elite, when they release Elite as open source and the community can have at it?
No.
Like 10 years from now, 15 years from now, wouldn't that be amazing?
Modding in Elite.
Isn't there?
Oh God!
No,
wouldn't that
hold
be
on.
amazing?
Isn't there a post or something from David Braben a while back that said that when the Elite servers go down, the code to Elite would be released for people to, run their own crap if they so wanted
That's
to?
true. That's fantastic. That's a day to look forward to.
I recall
in
that being a
his-
thing, but I
It's
don't
the
remember
kind of
where.
thing he, like, from everything else he said, it's the kind of thing he'd do.
I believe that, actually, yeah. Yep.
Anyway, we were bringing this to an end, and then we kept going.
So yeah, I ranted on. Sorry, folks. So
okay.
it's on me. It's on me.
Hey,
Blame
I
the
timed
Yamiks
you
for
today.
this.
Your first rant wasn't until 46 minutes in.
Oh,
Holy
really?
shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
your
damn.
first good one.
That's
You had a
that's
few mini
kind
ones.
of-
longest ever.
This is what you get when I'm depressed, sort of. So yay!
Oh, it feels bad. No depressed Yamiks.
Anyways, I guess you guys enjoyed the Fridays stream and all that stuff. And anyone else wants to finish this out, or
No, go for it.
no one's speaking up? God damn it. Okay, fine. So today, we were joined with DJ Trusayer,
Hi. Thank you very much.
Down to Earth Astronomy,
Thanks for having me.
Exigeous,
Fly dangerously.
Obsidian Ant,
Thank you.
and Paroxsym.
Hey.
Yeah, and I've been yours truly, TheYamiks, who ranted too much and all that stuff, so sorry folks. I guess today's episode kind of went in too long. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed, and enjoy your Friday. We're out.
Okay, catch you later.
Sort of.
See you,
See you
everybody.
guys later.
Bye, guys.
And now we are alone, so to speak, so I might as well turn on alerts back on, all the stuff and so on and so forth. So for the last couple of minutes I'll just go around and say thanks to those that were a little bit not charitable, but generous, there we go, generous throughout the stream. As per usual on the creator roundtables, all the audio alerts are muted, so you don't hear the squeaks and other things, but regardless, I gotta say thanks. So, first things first, as the stream started, Guero Marinero, dude, thank you so much for your contribution there. It really does help and bright, makes my little shriveled up heart a little bit larger every time. Anyways, after that we have Elite Galaxy, thank you as well, and again, sorry folks for a high microphone volume at the start. So yeah, again, either Discord or something else likes to turn it up, so I fucking hate that. But there's that. And after that we got also Gaspi. Sorry. Thank you so much for even being generous twice there, so thank you as well. And Jesse, thanks for becoming a Patreon, or patron rather, that's the correct. Anyways guys, if you too want to support yours truly with a little bit more, there's always Patreon link down below in the description, or super chats or Streamlabs links as well for tips and all that stuff. Or hey, if you want to just join the Discord, there is a link down below for all that wonderful stuff, as well as Humble Bundle referral links and whatnot. So anyways guys, so yeah, yet another Creators Roundtable is pretty much concluded. Let's see, I tried to interact with the chat as much as I could, but attention is divided. But this is what it is. Let's see if I missed. Don't think I have. Well, in any case then, in that case, well guys, enjoy your Friday or whatever's left of it, and I pretty much will be seeing you probably next week, as I need to make sure that things work and all that stuff in real life and through the weekend. So weekend is for all that stuff. Anyways, you guys enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you Monday or Tuesday, or we'll see when, unless I completely fuck up my Ethernet cables and nothing happens. So yeah, anyways, take care guys, and fly dangerously. I don't have any outro anyway. There you go.